is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Kane's Ware at Miami Fanware in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Kane's Ware, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Wilton Rayon has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Wilton Rayon, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Wilton Rayon can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Wilton Rayon can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome aboard. Time to rock and roll. How you feeling today? Are you feeling 30K? Huh? Are you feeling 30K, baby? Yeah. Woo! That was fun yesterday. I was watching that thing closely, and I was going, man, it's going to hit 30 today. Looks like it, and we've been waiting for it. It was busting around 28 for a while, for a couple of weeks, and only a certain amount of time until the volcano explodes. And it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We are blessed that the good Lord gave us another day, and we are blessed to watch Bitcoin climb and climb and climb and climb, baby. Yeah. Woo! Man, where are all those guys that said Bitcoin was going down to 0 or 8,000 or 10,000? Where are those people? Typical, you know. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Although I do remember some of the names, Tremolio and Kenshawn. Okay? Kenshawn might be the worst predictor in the history of mankind. Will he show up? Probably not. Tremolio's been lost for a while, but that's all right. When it comes to crypto, Tremolio's always been lost. But the rest of you also that were kind of negative, like, where are you? Are you going to chime in and say, I was wrong? I was wrong about it. Yeah, it's actually a real thing. It's not a Ponzi. Oh, man. I've been telling you for a while. So, and this is only the start. It's going to go up a lot more. I'm just saying, but it's a good thing. And it's good because I'm watching a bunch of the other. I think the altcoins will go up slowly, but Bitcoin's going to explode. It has to. It has no choice, because unfortunately there's so much chaos financially everywhere else in the world, and now they're going to push that CBDC crap on your ass. And those of you that are stupid enough to buy into it, go ahead. But anyway, whatever. It is what it is, as they say. But man, for those of us in Bitcoin, you are loving life. Your Bitcoin account is a hell of a lot better than your bank account, right? If you have $100 in your bank account and $100 in Bitcoin, there's a huge difference where that 100 is compared to the other 100, right? You can buy a lot more with the 100 on Bitcoin than you can without the 100 on Bitcoin. You know that, by the way, Bitcoin is up 82% since January 1st. Do you understand that? 82% Bitcoin is up since January 1st. So for those of you that aren't very good in math, if you put $100 in Bitcoin on January 1st, you have $182 right now. That's a lot of money in a very short amount of time. No asset's going to grow like that. None, nada, nay. I've told you guys a lot about this. Some of you are smart enough to understand that the real Ponzi scheme is our dollar. That's the real Ponzi scheme, our government, and the way they mishandled our money and our budgets and everything that they mishandled. So there you go. If Jasmine hits, oh boy. Yeah, Jasmine's up to 62, 63, 64. Got up to 65 last night. I think it's like at 62 or 63 right now. It was as low as 44. So it's up quite a bit also. And Jasmine will continue to grow. That's another one that I'm into. But yeah. Kyle Cockrell says, heck yeah, my crypto portfolio is way better than my bank account. But that's also caused because I'm putting most of my money in the crypto market. Well, you're smart. You put your money in your bank account, you're freaking screwed. You're losing money. It just is not productive for you. So the bull run hasn't even started. It's like about to start now, and those of us that bought the dip, you're already in the green. All of us are in the green already. We're all in the green. I'm already in the green with my Bitcoin. Way in the green. And that's just, because if you buy it all the way down and you buy more as it goes lower, the math solves it all. Dollar cost average is the way you invest. You don't try to time the market. You follow it all the way down. The problem is, sometimes, like I have a buddy of mine. I'll give you an example. I have a buddy of mine that he got into Bitcoin when it was at 40,000 a couple years ago. And he bought a little bit, not a lot. He didn't buy a lot. And then it went all the way up to 67, right? He didn't buy any of that. He bought it somewhere in the 40s. Once it got into the 50s, he didn't buy anymore. Then here's where he made the mistake. Then the dip came. So once it passed the 40s and it got into the 30s, what do you think he did? He panicked. He stayed strong. He held on to his Bitcoin. I give him credit. But he never bought on the way down because he was afraid. But then that ruins your investment. He's still not making money yet. It's got to get back into the 40s. And that's what I told him. I said, if you would have bought it all the way down to the 16,000 range, as it's going up, you're now starting to get back and make money and break even. And by the time it gets to 40 again, you have already been making money because you had bought it all the way down. And he didn't understand that part. And so now he's paying the price for it, right? And he started to buy now. I go, if you buy now, you're still lowering your 40,000 price because you're in the 40, 43, 46. So if you're buying 28 and 30 and 32 and 30, you're lowering that overall price. You should have bought it at 16. But the problem is he doesn't really study it a lot. So he listens to all the idiots out there. Oh, it's going to zero, this, that, whatever. And you just can't do that. And look at Tesla. I explained it to you in Tesla in the stocks. It was way up, right? And then it got all the way down to 105, 6. And what did I tell you guys at that time? Dude, if you have money, if you're into stocks, this is when you buy Tesla. When it's at its worst, because that's when you invest. When things are at its worst, that's what people are afraid of the most. When it's at their worst, they don't want to invest, but that's when it's at its best to invest. When there's blood in the streets, that's when you invest. That's kind of the Warren Buffett term, right? That saying that he says that he's said for many years. That's exactly it. And when it was at 16,000, that's when blood is in the streets. Because that it's gone down. You've had people sell off. Boom. But as I've explained to many of you, and people don't want to listen because they don't invest, Bitcoin went from basically 8,000 to $67,000. That's unheard of any asset. And it's also unheard of for any asset to go from 8 to 67 and maintain its price. Anybody knows that. But you'd rather it go back down where it did, and it never went back down to 8. It went to 16.5. Now we're going to have another bull run, and it's going to go over 100,000. It's going to go to a couple 100,000 maybe. And then when it does come back, you'll never see 16,000 again. I don't even know if you'll see 30 or 40 again. It'll come back down again, but it might be in the 50s or in the 60s, maybe the 70s. But there'll be another floor again. I don't know what it's going to be, but it ain't going to be anything like it was before. Why? Because you're going to have more institutional money inside the foundation of it, and that's where it's going to change. The next go around, you're going to have now the institutional money, the ETFs come in. All these things are going to now start to develop because the SEC is going to lose all these lawsuits. They're going to lose the lawsuit to BlackRock, and BlackRock will get their ETF going. And so the ETFs will be building up and all that stuff. And that's going to end up just creating one hell of a foundation. And it's going to explode. But the best time to invest is when it's at its worst. It's the time that people are the most scared to invest. But that's kind of the idea. Because that's when you're going to make your most profit, and you got to have strong hands, and you can't listen to the people. That's the problem that I've told you now for a couple of years here on the show, is that a lot of the people that are talking about crypto, they don't really know anything about crypto. They don't invest. Like we have, like the people sometimes that chime in on the chat board, they don't know shit about crypto. They just, it's a Ponzi, because they hear some other stupid idiot somewhere on CNN say it, and they just repeat it, and that person doesn't know anything about crypto. And sometimes I'll read an article in the Wall Street Journal or in the New York Times or in Time Magazine or in CNBC or what, and I can right away within the second paragraph, I can already tell this writer doesn't know anything about crypto and doesn't invest in it. So how do you know? It's exactly like when somebody tells me, well, Bitcoin was at 67 and it went down. Yeah, see, now I know you don't know anything about investing because it was at 8,000. How can it hold at 67 from 8,000? What asset has ever done that? Doesn't exist. It's up, build a floor, up, build a floor, up, build a floor, have some downfall, have some resistance, have a floor, build it up again, go down, up, 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 but where you get higher highs and higher lows. But sometimes there'll be volatility along the way. But as long as it continues to go in a trajectory that's up throughout a macro environment, then you're fine. I always tell you that, right? Macro, not micro. And too many people are looking, look what's happened in the last day or two or a week. No, dude, zoom out. Look what's happened in 14 years. It went from 0 to 30,000. What asset does that? None. Keep explaining it over and over and over. Eventually some of you will catch on. Some of you have already caught on and you're smart and you're way ahead now like we are. And some of you will catch on later, and you will get the people that will tell me when it's at 50 and 60, hey, should I get into Bitcoin now? Yeah, why not? Go ahead. What can I tell you? But anyway, it's a beautiful Bitcoin morning. That's all I can tell you. As we are in the 30. Steve Chapman is in the house. I see on the chat board, ready to go. Jamie Zorria in San Jose. The Panthers basically only need one more point. Yeah, just take care of business on Thursday and you're in. What's going on with the Panthers? Last night they lost to Toronto in overtime, but they got a point. So they're fine. They've got 92 points. They've got the 7th spot. They've got the first playoff, first wild card spot. The Islanders have the second one at 91, and Pittsburgh's in the 9th spot with 90. So now tonight, Pittsburgh takes on Chicago. Let's hope that Chicago can win. Chicago's really bad, so Pittsburgh will probably win. They'll pick up 2 points there. And then Wednesday, we've got Montreal at the Islanders. We kind of need the Islanders to lose again. Would be nice. But if they win, then that puts a pressure on the Panthers. And then Thursday, it'll be Pittsburgh at Columbus and Carolina at Florida. And we'll see how that all shakes out, because if Pittsburgh takes care of business tonight and they take care of business against Columbus, that puts, the onus on Florida to perform. And also, if the Islanders win, then all of a sudden now they're going to be ahead of the Panthers. So if the Panthers want to get in, the best way, okay, is to beat Carolina on Thursday or get a point, get a tie, or just get it into overtime like they did last night. Something like that. They've got to at least pick up a point, and that'll put them in a good position. But a win would be really, really nice on Thursday. But let's see what happens. Maybe what goes on tonight and Wednesday kind of affects and makes it easier for them on Thursday. But they're still alive, even though they lost last night. That point was huge that they got in that one. So there you go. So good stuff by the Panthers, at least getting a point. You'd want more. And Alex Lyon wasn't necessarily peppered last night. Only had 23 saves. But, hey, listen, they're still alive. So that's the good thing. True Fin Fan is in the house. Too Extreme. Lisa Rose is in the house. I know she's happy with the Bitcoin run. Strafasi is in. No, they didn't blow it, Strafasi. Relax. They're in. They're still in. Too Extreme, he says, was watching Poupart and Omar on their Dolphins talk show. Yep, they do a good job with it. Over on SI. John Padilla in. Nizzle in. Willie is in the house in Colombia. Kyle Cockrell, Nyborg. Let's see what else. And Nyborg reminds everybody to hit that like button. Please hit the like button. Very important you hit that like button, man. Listening to the podcast, watching the show, however it is you do it, please hit that like button. Kyle wants that Jasmine. Alexis is in. What else? Campos says, do you put the Oladipo trade in the Jermaine O'Neal trade category? Anthony, I put the Oladipo move with a lot of bad moves over the last few years. Oladipo is there with Whiteside and Waiters and, all these terrible moves, and Lowry and Duncan, and, there's just so many. You gave up a second rounder just to get rid of Dedmon. It's just endless, the amount of mistakes that Riley and the front office have made lately. Okay? And they're lucky that they have the greatest chef in the world. That's all. Chef Ramsay doesn't have shit on Spo. That's all. They're super lucky that they developed one hell of a coach in Eric Spoelstra. That's it, bro. Eric Spoelstra saves their ass. They got to get their shit together in the front office, and they got to start making better decisions and acquiring better players. That's what they got to do. As I've said over and over again, what happened to James Posey and Dan Marley? Sorry, I must have missed this, bro. What happened to Anthony Mason? What happened to acquiring like real players, Battier and Ray Allen? Not just Bosch and LeBron and Shaq and Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway. What happened, bro? What happened to the caliber of player all the way around that you used to acquire, that you used to sign? Now we got to develop G League guys and hope that you can sign them for long-term contracts and hope that you develop a stud player out of that. The standard has been lowered. They're settling. You know what I mean? Kind of like my wife did, 3 decades ago with me. She settled. Should have done a lot better than me. But, that's kind of what's going on with the Heat. Notice what I just told you. Notice the names. And then notice the names now. Tell me, what's the difference? The results also. But you're lucky, bro. The chef makes it look better than what it really is. The souffle looks beautiful. Inside, it's foam and fake shit. But hey, he made it look nice on the outside. Eric Spoelstra is an absolute badass. And he makes the people in the front office better than what they are right now. Let's just call it like we see it. Since nobody else in town has the balls to say it, I'll say it. It's not good enough, bro. And you keep asking the guy that's coaching you to make it more than what it really is. And he can only do so much with what you give him. And what you give him, he's maximizing the shit out of it. That's what's going on, dude. That's what's going on. Jamesville is celebrating Bitcoin over 30. Zach Morgan is correct. Invest in Tua coin. Damn right. Kevin Beal says, Big O, I think I'm going to stock up on Victory cigars for the upcoming Dolphin season. I'm thinking 13-14 win season. Call me crazy, but I honestly don't think it's far-fetched. Seems possible to me. It is. If Tua comes in and plays the way he needs to play, that he gets rid of the football and stays on the field, 13 wins is possible. For sure, dude. For sure. So it's not crazy. Okay? The problem is, since it hasn't happened here forever, and since we're not used to good things, we don't allow ourselves to think about it anymore. And I'm glad you are, because you should. And I keep telling everybody, enjoy this freaking off season. Enjoy what happened last year, because last year was about bad luck. That was a really good team. This year, we need some luck, and you're going to see a great team. Okay, that was a really good team. Now you're going to see a great team. But we need luck. Everybody needs a little luck. You need a couple breaks to go your way. And that's all I'm asking, bro. That's all I'm asking the football gods up there. Please give our Dolphins just a little bit of a break. That's all I'm asking. That's it. It wasn't about Tua's injuries. Dude, head injuries, like freakish. Crazy shit, man. So if he stays there, boom. Jamesville says he bought some in 16K. There you go. See, Jamesville knows what the hell he's doing. Perdomo needs to come up with an official Dolphin victory cigar. Well, a Perdomo cigar is a victory cigar, because when you're smoking a Perdomo cigar, it is constructed so well. It burns so evenly. The flavor is great all the way through. So if you're buying a Champagne or a Maduro or a Sun-Grown or whatever it is, the flavor is all the way through. So it's always a win. 90 miles from Cuba. Chad is in the house. Nixter is in. Jeff Fox in the box. Gus 1388. R. Rod in. He says he's going to be at the Panther game on Thursday. Enjoy it, man. Nothing like live hockey, man. Drago is in. He's ready for a fight. Isais is in. Bradster. Troy Ortiz. Did Omar leave his podcast gig? Yes, he's with SI now. Yes. Ronald Hubbard is in. It's a crazy business, man. Knight, Big O, I'm here to enjoy the show. Not a fan of any other sport but football, but here for it anyways. Keep up the hard work. Thank you, Knight. I appreciate you. Strafasi says the Miami Heat take Spo for granted. They do. They do. They do take Spo for granted. Yep. True Fin fan says maybe it's time for Spo to take over Riley. I don't know how many decisions Spo has been a part of with some of these bad decisions. That's the part that True Fin fan, you and I can't answer. Maybe he wanted Duncan signed. Maybe he wanted to trade for Lowry. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's a great X's and O's coach doesn't mean he's a great GM. And that's the part that I don't know. That's the part that I'm uninformed at this point. I don't know how much did he influence any of these decisions. I would imagine in the end, I have to blame Riley because he's the end-all be-all for anything and everything. So for front offices, I have to say, Riles, I love you, brother, but you got to pick it up, dude. The decisions the last few years have not been good. They're not good enough. And the problem is, you know, like when we bring on Ira and he puts lipstick on a pig and he says, well, you got to remember the Heat went to the Eastern Conference Finals and they were in the finals and this, that, and he's right. But let's not make it sound like it's really about the front office. No, it was more about a couple of players on the court and Spo putting it all together and overachieving, because there's a reason why they can't follow up a really good season with another really good season, because they're really not that good. They're just overachieving. So he gets the max out of them. But if you want to keep squeezing every single ounce out of the orange every time, that's just not reality, man. It's just not reality, bro. And it's not fair to Spo. And that's the problem. And I think we're all taking, maybe not myself, because I mention it a lot, and I mentioned how much I think he's awesome, but I think a lot of people don't give Spo enough credit for how good he is. I really do. I really think that people, they take him for granted. It's a great line. You know, I believe that. And I believe that maybe Riley in the front office have kind of taken it for granted that, Spo will do the best he can with what we got and this, that. And then they've cut so many corners. They've given away so many picks. That's the other thing. I can't force the hopium on you guys. And this trade's going to happen. And every year we keep talking ourselves into some big trade that's going to happen, and it never happens. And now lately it can't happen, and it's not really because they can't lure them there. It's because they don't have the ammunition. And they have given away all their picks, and they don't have enough picks, and they don't have enough sexy players, because you keep getting middling players that you're giving them contracts that you shouldn't, and then you're putting them in positions that they probably shouldn't be in either. And so then that's exposing you as a team, that's exposing the player, and then it just, look at Duncan Robinson. After all the value you built up in those 2 years, where's it at now? It's completely been destroyed. 2 years ago, people are saying, oh, we need a shooter. Hey, let's trade for Duncan Robinson. But Miami signed them to a long-term contract. Okay, you could have traded him right there and then, right? Because at that time, he was super hot. He was one of the best shooters in the NBA. He was right behind Steph Curry, that kind of shit, right? So that's the momentum where you can trade him. But you kept him. And now he's been exposed that he can't do anything else, and he really couldn't maintain his shot. Because you're really not a great shooter if you can't shoot at any time. That's Kelly Tripucka, okay? Came out of Notre Dame, played in the NBA, was a expansion player for the Charlotte Hornets. But one thing Kelly Tripucka could do throughout his entire freaking career was shoot. Del Curry, another guy Charlotte got. They got a couple guys that they needed to fill the hoops. Another guy that could shoot at any time. And these are guys that kind of came off benches and then started for bad teams because they weren't great players. They weren't going to start on really good teams. And Del Curry came off the bench normally. But these are guys that could score. And when you're a scorer, you can score, dude. You can score when you start. You can score when you come off the bench. You can score when they only gave you 5 minutes in a game. It didn't matter. You came off the bench, ready to go. And that's not Duncan. So you're really not a great shooter because you can't shoot consistently. Del Curry came off the bench, and I don't care if Del Curry did not play a minute in the game until there's 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And that son of a bitch was going to come off the bench and going to hit a couple three-pointers on your head, whether you liked it or not. John Sundvold did not have to play a goddamn minute in a game. But holy shit, we're in the fourth quarter. We're down by 1 or 2, and we've got to design a play. Let's call Sonny off the bench. And that son of a bitch is going to hit the three if you give him an open shot. And so is Craig Hodges, and so is Jim Paxson, and so it. I could just go on and talk about all kinds of players in the history of the NBA because I'm 56 years old. I've watched a lot of players. And so the Miami Heat effed up. They signed a player that really isn't a real scorer. And they have to stop doing that. And that's the problem. As I've explained now in this diatribe. Just go look at the names that they used to acquire, they used to bring on, and then look at the names now. And brother, it is night and day. Night and day in role players, night and day in stars, night and day. It's not even close to the character of player you used to bring in, the toughness of the players that you used to bring in. Not even close. And that's the front office's fault. But you know what? You've got Spo who masks it and makes it look better than what it really is. Okay? But what it really is mediocre and average at best. But you're asking this guy to make it better than that. And he does sometimes, even with scrubs, he'll make them average. He made scrubs average. Do you know how hard that is to make scrubs average? He made scrubs average. He got a bunch of scrubs and kicked the Golden State Warriors' ass a couple of times with scrubs. He got a bunch of young guys in a bubble and got them to the finals, dude. I just don't think people really understand the job Spo does here. I don't think people give him credit for how fucking good he is, man. And he is freaking awesome, dude. Awesome. Let's see. John Dew says, didn't Spo get this team to the finals during COVID? I remember shoeless days, leave Spo alone. Yeah, Spo's the man, bro. Spo's the man. Great point, Big O. I have no idea either if Spo would be any good upstairs. None of us know. None of us know. Because look at Michael Jordan, bro. Easy answer for all of you out there. Do you want Michael Jordan running your basketball team? There's only one answer there, and it doesn't start with a Y, right? I mean, you got to be the dumbest human being on earth to tell me, oh, no, yeah, dude, I like Michael Jordan as a general manager. Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, he could team any day of the year. In fact, put it this way. If Michael Jordan bought the Heat, I would drop the Heat. What the hell do I need all the kaopectate and Pepto-Bismol in the world in my house? That's all I would have with Michael Jordan owning my team. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying that you never know how good somebody is in the front office just because whatever they were, a former player or a coach that's a great coach. Look at Phil Jackson. He didn't build any of his championship teams. This is why I always give Riley the nod over Jackson, even though Jackson has more titles, but Riley built the Knicks, built the Heat. You know what I mean? So he's built teams that either got to title games or won titles. And he didn't build the Lakers because that was Jerry West. But then when he went to the Knicks, he had the power there. And then when he came to Miami, he had all the power here because he was in a power struggle with the Knicks at times, and that's why he left. But here he had total control, and he's won championships. So to me, I'm more impressed with the guy that can coach and can build. But lately, the foundation, the bricks, the wood, the stuff that you use to build that, it hasn't been very strong. And that's why I tell you that when you look at the Miami Heat, I used to see coming off the bench Shane Battier and Ray Allen and James Posey and Anthony Mason and Brian Grant and Eddie Jones and Dan Marley. And you understand what I'm saying? I could go on and on and on and talk about all the names from all those other teams. And then I start looking at the guys that complement Jimmy and no star next to Jimmy, whereas Zoe could count on Timmy. Timmy could count on Zoe. Wade could count on Shaq. Shaq could count on Wade and Zoe. Zoe could count on Shaq and Wade. LeBron could count on Wade and Bosh. Bosh could count on Wade and LeBron. LeBron could count on Wade and Bosh. You get what I'm saying? Where's Jimmy? He's looking around going, I'm Batman. Who's Robin? There's not even a Robin. And this team actually needs a Batman to Jimmy's Batman, really, to be quite honest. To be quite honest, if you want to be a championship team, you actually need somebody that's better than Jimmy on this team to win that championship. You don't even have a Robin to Jimmy's Batman. Cam Wolfe, baby. Let's unleash the Wolf Pack right now.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolfe. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolfe.
All right. There he is joining us on a beautiful Bitcoin morning. How you doing, my man? You celebrating like we are that Bitcoin's over 30,000?
I have not been looking at it, so I have not. I didn't know.
I know you did.
I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't know.
How was the luau yesterday?
It was pretty cool. Man. I didn't get to go last year, so this is my first time being out there, and pretty cool environment. I love learning about different cultures, and so I've learned a decent amount about the Samoan and Polynesian culture. Covering the league for the last 4 or 5 years. I covered Marcus Mariota in Tennessee, and he's Samoan. He actually went to the same high school as Tua, and now it's Tua. And so being around a lot of the culture, see the dances they're doing, learning why they do the dances, that was an element that was pretty awesome for me. And then obviously you have fun moments in the night. You see, Mike McDaniel bidding on a Tua and Marino painting. I don't know where he's going to hang that up in his house, but he spent some good coin for a Tua and Marino painting that actually looked pretty awesome.
He's got a lot of walls in that house, bro.
That is true. He's got a lot more walls than I do. So, I got to figure out where I hang stuff. McDaniel probably puts it in the 7th room or whatever. So that was pretty cool. They did a fire knife ceremony towards the end outside, which I thought was pretty awesome. And yeah, you just see, I think last year, we made a big point of it because you seen all this support for Tua, which was different than what he had previously. You see the coaches come out, you see a heavy amount of teammates. And this year it was the same. It's not as much of a surprise, not as much of a bigger deal because it's happened before. But you see, Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith and Darrell Bevel and Chandler Henley, his whole offensive, core there. And then you see teammates like Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert and Alec Ingold and River Craycraft, Austin Jackson, among others are there. You just kind of see the support that he has. So good cause. They donated about $55,000 to Jason Jenkins Foundation, which I thought was awesome. Mike McDaniel and Raheem Mostert and Jason Taylor all bid $5,000 to donate there. And Tua, I think, donated about $25,000 himself. So definitely great cause, and it was a cool way to spend a Monday night.
That's awesome, man. It's and listen, I don't know why we make it such a big deal. How about maybe he's just like a really likable dude too, on top of all of that, It's like, we talk about guys like Aaron Rodgers who are probably loners and don't necessarily, I don't know, go to the same tune as everybody around them, right? And so I can understand them. We talk about the guy that isn't social, but it's kind of weird that, we would even question somebody's loyalty to somebody else when, how about this? Look at our love for Jason Jenkins. Yeah. Anybody that met him loves the man because he was such a good person. And so you'll see lots of people will easily say something really nice, like I would about Jason Jenkins, who I got to know for the last 15 years while he was here in Miami. And, it's just sometimes there are people you gravitate to because they're just good human beings. And to me, that's just who Tua is, dude. And and the part that I thought people had a misconception of is that they thought, like we had fun with Omar last year when he said, "Oh, he's a weirdo." No, he's not a weirdo, dude. It's just, yeah, he's a straight and narrow guy. So he's not going with you to the club to go make it rain. But that doesn't mean that in his own way, he's not going to connect with you and joke around with you behind the scenes, and that he's not going to show you personality behind the scenes and all of those kind of things. And maybe his joking will be in one way, then completely different than a couple of the guys at the bar, at the sports bar, at the barber shop, or whatever, that maybe the language is a little bit more colorful and it's a little bit more edgy and it's a little bit more political or whatever it is. Yeah, you're not going to have those conversations with Tua. You're not going to have those conversations with Tony Gwynn, with Cal Ripken, with Derek Jeter. I can go on and talk about those kind of guys that they're not going to go to the strip club with you. But that doesn't mean they're not going to be liked. They can't be great leaders. They don't have an impact in the locker room.
Yeah, man. Every guy's got different personality, especially from that position, the quarterback position. And so I think the biggest thing for Tua and for his teammates was to learn what his personality was and for him to truly embrace it, because, they're like, he's a different personality than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Doesn't mean that he's less of a guy. He's just different, And so, like, if you have one style, you have to adjust to another. And I think his teammates have a lot better of understanding of who he is. I think Tua has a lot more comfort now in being who he is. And I think that allows everybody to try to embrace him for who he is, right? Because, like, I have a different personality than you do. Or Omar does, or whoever is, so it doesn't mean like people may like you more or less based on your personality, but the goal is to be you, and ultimately, you'll get accepted or not accepted based off that. And so I think that last year, and I was telling my wife this yesterday about like Tua's, where I thought has grown in. I thought that he's grown in like being truly himself and open to a level with us as the media, but also publicly, that he wasn't before. Like, I think he was this way privately. Yeah. I think he was this way privately with some of his close family and friends, but he's a guarded individual. And so for him to open up and be a little bit more of himself with us, with the public, even with his teammates to an extent, I think it's growth. Mike McDaniel's a big part of that. And also probably his own confidence and where he is with his game and himself, going into year 3 and now year 4.
Did you see a thicker Tua yesterday?
I don't know if I was like evaluating his thickness. Maybe I should have. He was wearing a pretty nice 3-piece suit. I have seen some of the workout videos where I've seen some of his, I don't know how much I want to dive into this, but some of his quads or thighs are obviously bigger.
He was already big down there. He was already lower thick. But you know what, Sean, if you can pull up the 2 pictures from yesterday, well, you can put up the third one for the end and we can really show the progress. But first, see if you can pull up the one with Tua and the teammate, and then the one with him coming off the snap from this weekend that Nick put out, so you can check it out. And you can kind of tell in the picture, well, that was the initial Tua. No, but look, this is the one here that just came, and then look at him with his teammate.
Right.
So
is that
you
Adam
look
Shaheen? That looks like Adam Shaheen, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then you look at him there, and then you look there,
right?
And that's, you could tell. Look at the neck,
right?
Like you see that there's been some workout there. The legs, people were making a big thing about his legs. They didn't really notice. He's always had.
His lower body's always been big, but I think he has got bigger, even bigger and stronger. His lower body too. Yeah. But up top, he looks stronger. I mean, he's been in the weight room.
Yeah,
that's good. You can
good. Tell. Now, the original, when he first got here, show it, Sean. When he first got that's progress right there.
Yeah, I mean, going from a stick to where he is now, that's a lot of growth.
That's a lot of growth right there. Fresh off the hip injury, atrophy set in. That kid had nothing on his body. He's completely built it up. So he does look like listen, are you shocked that he's a pro's pro, that he's going to go do what he needs to do in the offseason? Like, any other great athlete, oh, I got to add this to my game. Oh, I got to improve this. So I'm not really shocked that he's going to do whatever it takes to be better.
Absolutely. No. I think that this year is going to be it's going to be a blast for Dolphins fans, because you're year 2 in a new head coach. Like if you were excited about Mike McDaniel year 1, now you got year 2 in a scheme. You got Tua year 2 under Mike McDaniel, who he seems to be very comfortable with, and this offense, having another year with that scheme, and then a defense with Vic Fangio. That there's a lot of optimism could be better. So as quiet as it's kept, I think the Dolphins are going to be again one of the biggest storylines of this season. And obviously the big question everybody will have is, can Tua stay healthy? He won't be able to answer that question until September, but I think if that answer is yes, then it could be a really good season for the Dolphins.
You think we're gonna see an opener of Kansas City and Miami? Because if the NFL,
yeah.
You think that's going to be the opener then?
So I don't know. Like I know I work for NFL Network, but they don't preview me the schedule a month in advance, and so I don't know. I don't know because
of the whole. I know I hate to put it this way because I'm the guy that defends them as much as possible, but for all those people that are so concerned about the injury stuff, well, what better way to open up Thursday night?
Absolutely.
Tua is there, and then that offense against that offense. Put on a show for the league on a Thursday night. Miami's got to visit Kansas City. I think, man, Fangio going up there to Kansas City to try to stop Mahomes and company and all that.
I love it. So to me, I'm looking at the Chiefs schedule right now because the Chiefs obviously get that Thursday night game because they're Super Bowl champions, and it's got to be a home game. And typically, they're not going to put a Super Bowl rematch. So they play the Eagles in Arrowhead, but they won't do a Super Bowl rematch most likely that first week. And so the most likely options when I'm looking at the schedule is Miami, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. You got 3 AFC teams there. And so to me, if I was guessing right now, I would say one of those 3. I mean, technically, I guess you could put Denver in there if you wanted to do Peyton Russell, but I'm not excited about that the way I would be the other 3. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Tyreek Hill coming back home to Arrowhead. He's going to talk a lot. He's already talked a bunch about what he's going to do to them. You got Mahomes and Tua. You got Tua coming back. Can he stay healthy? So, yeah, I think that either of those 3, the Bills, the Bengals, and Dolphins would be great. But you look about, you can't lose with those. But as far as if the Dolphins, let's be real, they have a bigger fan base than the Bills and the Bengals. Even though the Bills and Bengals have been more successful recently, the Dolphins have a bigger fan base. And so you can also save Burrow, Mahomes, or Allen, Mahomes for later in the season if you want to. So, yeah, I like the idea of Chiefs Dolphins that Thursday night opener.
Now you got Bills Mafia going to get after your ass now too when they see this.
Yeah, about them being a big Dolphins historically. I'm just calling it what it is. The Dolphins historically have been a bigger fan base. Not saying they're more rowdy or more enthused. The Bills probably have them there, but as far as size, historically the Dolphins have been a bigger fan base than the Bills and the Bengals. I got to call it.
It's not even close, but they'll get butt hurt anyways.
Yeah,
about the whole thing. What'd you think about Club Live hosting OBJ and Lamar after OBJ signs?
Yeah, this whole OBJ Odell Beckham situation has been interesting because he got $15 million guaranteed, and this is a guy who did not play ball at all last year. No other receiver in the free agency market got the contract that he got on a guarantee in the AAV level, and so it surprised me. Like, Odell's been a really good player, but it's a lot of money to get to somebody who you don't for sure know if he's going to be the same player after that injury. You're hoping, and to me, this is just speculation. To me, that's a move you make to appease your quarterback and to make sure everything's good and we're going towards making up. We talked about this the last couple times we were on here. How does this Lamar thing end? Well, is this the Ravens reaching out an olive branch to a guy that he's clearly close to? He clearly has talked about wanting more receivers. And so you say, hey, the offers aren't looking what you're liking, Lamar. We'll go get one of your guys, one of your best friends, a receiver, help our room out as well. And let's all come back together and make this thing right. And to me, that's what it seems like my takeaway from the Odell move is, yes, you get a starting caliber receiver, but maybe also you secure your quarterback back maybe earlier than you may have initially.
Crazy stuff. So how your Sixers going to do in the playoffs?
Oh man, so I am cautiously optimistic. I will say that I told my buddy this. My buddy is a big Heat fan. He has season tickets for the Heat. I'm hoping, and I'm not afraid to say this. I am hoping the Heat win tonight, and then they can find a way to pull that upset against Boston. Because I know it's unlikely, but I would love to see another Philly-Miami rematch. And I also would like to avoid Boston.
You'll be facing Boston. I mean,
I would love to have Boston.
Flo's good.
Yeah,
but damn, we're gonna ask him to do that miracle now too. I mean,
hey, nobody. What did Jimmy say? Nobody counted us to win last year. So I'm not expecting it, but I said I would love it. The problem I have with Philly is can they get over the hump against those good teams? They're going to have to play, if things go the way they're supposed to go, they're going to have to play Boston and then Milwaukee. I love to say I'm confident they can beat both of them. Boston's had their number. I actually would feel a lot better against Milwaukee than I would against Boston, just the way the flow is going. But you never know. Joel Embiid's been the best player in basketball this year. He should be the MVP. You just need James Harden to show up. He's been a really good facilitator at times this year. And he's averaging 20-something points a game, but we know the history on him in the playoffs. And so, it's gotta be his time. If he's gonna ever change the narrative about him choking in the playoffs, this is the year. So I need to see elite James Harden. I need to see elite Tyrese Maxey, because we know that Joel Embiid is gonna be who he is, the best player in basketball.
You sound like the Tua haters. They keep moving the line after he keeps proving them wrong. All right, well, let's see if he can do this. So let's see if he can do this. By now, we kind of know who James Harden is, my brother.
I was like, you were right. We've seen what James Harden has been, but what else can you do? You got to change your narrative somehow, and so this is his opportunity. And so yeah, I think it's going to be a wild playoffs because the West is wide open. You got the Nuggets as number 1 seed, but I don't believe, like, everybody talks about Jokic. They've never won, and they've never really been in a position where they've been a 1 seed year and year and year, and they never win.
Healthy, actually.
That's true. They're more healthy now. But to me, it feels like one of those teams, the lower seeds, whether it's the Suns or the Warriors, the teams that have I'm just gonna call it how it is, the true game-changing superstars. I think those are the teams that I feel like they're gonna find a way at the end. And so, in the East, I always look at it in the playoffs. In the end, the best players rise to the top. And so for me, the best players in the East, you got Joel, you got Giannis, and you got Tatum. One of those three are going to come out of the East. To me, in the West, you have Jokic maybe in that conversation, but to me, I don't look at him in the playoff realm the same way I may look at a Kevin Durant or a Steph Curry, Right. And so to me, I think it's going to be what it is.
It's funny how you're hoping that James Harden does what he normally doesn't do in the playoffs and steps up and becomes that star next to Embiid. And right before you came on, that's my problem with the Heat, that Jimmy just doesn't have that star next to him. There's no star. Nobody.
Hey, Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal, every offseason they miss the playoffs and they complain about their situations. One of these years, they got to just request their way out. And to me, that would be one of those guys. They're older, so you'd be betting on an older player, but Jimmy's older. So you got to, make what moves you can. To me, I don't know what they can do money-wise. Obviously they committed to Kyle Lowry for a bit. But can you, if you can find a way to make a big splash for a Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal, to me, that's your last push to try to.
They've been dying to make those moves. The problem is now they put themselves in a position where they don't even have the ammunition to make that, because many other teams will step in front of them with better deals to make that move. And that's ultimately the problem there now too. They've mishandled, that part of their franchise, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
All right, absolutely. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up later in the week.
Sounds good.
Thank you. You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe, baby. And of course, KSDT CPA. You saw the the QR code there. We got your taxes right around the corner, man. So wherever you're at right now, you need your taxes done. Hit that QR code. Reach out to the people at KSDT CPA. Your business, maybe you need an extension. Personal taxes coming up. KSDT CPA. Hit that QR code and reach out to the great people. Offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties are going to be opening up one in North Carolina. Give them a ring, man. You can do all of this by phone wherever you're at. Support the great people and the great companies that support our platform, ksdtcpa.com.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolfe. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
Right. There we go. David Carson says, I just want to give a shout out to all the girls who play South Florida softball. It's really fun to watch these girls play. And yes, I'm a little biased because my daughter plays. Well, congratulations, David. I hope she kicks ass and enjoy, man. Oh, do you think the NFL will allow the new Commanders owner to change that horrible name? I don't know. I doubt it because it takes years for that to happen. Big O, it's a lot easier to run the Heat than the Hornets. Big difference in getting players signed to a Miami Heat team versus Charlotte. Well, you are Michael Jordan, bro. You should be able to do it, right? I mean, you know, if you can win in small markets, right? You just got to land the players, and you have to have the when you are picking, you got to pick the right players. And if you pick the right stars, then you've got a chance. Memphis is pretty good, and it's not a big town. Oklahoma City had its opportunity. The window opened and it closed, but they had their opportunity. The Utah Jazz have been a small market, and they've had their opportunities, right? You can draft Karl Malone and John Stockton and Donovan Mitchell, right? You can draft players that can be game-changing, franchise-altering players, John Morant, all that kind of stuff, right? It's up to you. You know, you could be a small market team and make the moves if you're Charlotte. So I disagree with you. I think that Michael Jordan is just terrible, dude. I could go back and look at those drafts, all of his drafts, and look at the players he picked, and then go look at players that were picked right after. And I bet he's passed up a whole bunch of players that could have changed the complexion of his team. But he's never done it. He sucks. Michael Jordan is terrible at this job. Those are the facts, bro. It's proven over time. You know, New Orleans, they picked the fat kid. They should have picked John Morant, and look how much better their team would have been. And it's a small market. They had Anthony Davis. It's up to you, man. I mean, you'll be there in that position. Well, then it's up to you to pick the right players and put yourself in position. But you can be a small market team in the NBA and have success. But when you do have the opportunity to pick the players, trade for the players, you got to make sure you make the right decisions. And that's something that Michael Jordan never makes, dude. He never makes the right decisions. So there you go. I disagree with you, Tua time, on that. All of this hype of Tua looking bigger, it won't matter unless he gets rid of the ball and avoids unnecessary hits. Yep. But at least if he is better built when he does take hits, like he did last year, he survived all of them. It was the head trauma stuff that he got nailed with this past time. Let's see. True Fin Fan 78. Thank you for the love in the super chat. New troll equals Jets gang TikTok soon to be blocked. Why? What happened now? Who's let's not forget it wasn't for a flag. You lose to Jets. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, hey, when the Jets actually accomplish something, then maybe you can talk about it. But first, you have to accomplish it. Then you can talk about it. But that's usually what Jets fans do. They never accomplish anything, and they talk a lot of shit. Charles Barkley criticized Jordan's ownership skills, and Jordan cursed him in a phone call. Apparently, per Barkley, they haven't talked in a decade since. Well, that's Michael Jordan's problem. You know what I mean? He can't look in the mirror and say, wow, I suck. I need to sell the team and get the hell out. You know? Then what can I tell you? Michael, I guess, likes to lie to himself. You know? I can't do anything about that, but Michael is an absolute embarrassment as an executive. Okay? He's one of the worst executives ever in pro sports. When you talk about the 5 worst executives in pro sports, Michael Jordan is that. I don't know if he's 1 or number 5, but he's one of the 5 worst executives I have ever seen in all of pro sports. He's as incompetent as it gets. He's a fucking joke. Okay? Michael Jordan, it's because he's Michael Jordan. Everybody should be writing articles about what kind of a joke the Charlotte Hornets have been for a while now, for a long while now. Everybody should be talking and writing and saying that Michael Jordan has no business in basketball whatsoever. Go sell shoes, and that's it, my brother. Go talk about the old days, but don't run a basketball team. Michael Jordan is a fucking joke, dude. Okay? He's a complete fucking joke. He is pathetic. He's a fucking thief, dude. All he's doing is inflicting pain on his fan base. He's no different than Daniel Snyder, except he doesn't do the disgusting things that Daniel Snyder does. He's just disgusting in his decisions as a basketball executive. Michael Jordan, brother, I'm way better than Michael Jordan as a basketball executive. Sean Stanley's way better than him. Any of you out there can do a better job than any fucking buddy can do a better job than Michael Jordan. I mean, what's it? There's no skill in what Michael Jordan has accomplished in Charlotte. Zero skill, dude. It's pure money and arrogance that puts him in that position, but it has nothing to do with he's earned anything to be there. Nothing. Why? Because he's the former greatest player in the NBA? That's it? That's the only thing on your resume that says he should be an executive? Because there is nothing tangible to his resume that says you should be making decisions. A fucking 10-year-old can do better decisions than Michael Jordan. Brother, go play golf, smoke your cigars, drink your whiskey, go get lost, talk about the old days, rip Scottie Pippen. Making basketball decisions? You're too fucking incompetent to do that. That's where the media has no balls, bro. Zero balls at all. They should be making jokes of this guy. They should be making, his crying meme, that should be part of everything and anything Charlotte Hornets every second of every day. Michael Jordan should be berated badly for how terrible he is. He's terrible for the game of basketball as an executive. He does nothing for Charlotte, bro. George Shinn was a cancer to Hornets fans. And all Michael Jordan has done is continue to be the same kind of incompetent fool that George Shinn was. That's how it should be handled, dude. As much as we praise Michael, and I'm on top of the game saying he's the best ever, but we should have the same, how Michael Irvin deserves the same energy to be cleared of this bullshit with, Marriott and that girl. We should use the same energy. We should use the same energy with Michael. How we celebrate his career, and they should make a 30 for 30 on how bad of an executive he is with the Hornets. That's really what should be happening. People should be making jokes of Michael Jordan as an executive, comparing his low IQ as an executive to things that are done in life that are stupid. That kind of thing. That's how catastrophic it is what Michael Jordan has done with the Hornets. It is as incompetent as it gets, and yet we don't criticize it enough. Except for this show, of course, because we've ripped Michael for years now on this. I've had many rants on Michael. It's easy to have a rant on Michael. The dude's a fucking clown, bro. He lives off of his reputation as a player, as an executive. My God, dude, if I was doing radio in that town, I would be tearing him apart, bro. Okay? Like I would be, he would end up in my studio at one point or another. It would get to him. Guaranteed it would get to him. He would hear it from me if I lived in that town. And if he held any press conferences, oh my God, would I be front and center roasting his ass? Now, I don't know if I could keep a job because obviously, the corporations nowadays, they've got no guts whatsoever. So if they're in bed with the teams, they're always afraid of that. But really, seriously, dude, like Michael Jordan's a joke, bro. A joke. And he should be ripped like a lot. A lot. Hour number 2 is next.
I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there. A beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that. They can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She's mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet mated. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner where Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out, cuttersedgepro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? Then cut your trees down, and the artificial turf, I swear by it. really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro.
Right, Ziggy?
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Wilton Rayon has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Wilton Rayon, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Wilton Rayon can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Wilton Rayon can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. Hour number 2. Appreciate all of you out there. Ho Yoon, thank you, sir, for the love on Venmo. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Just saw from Ho Yoon there. Thank you, sir. And Kevin Beal also just chimed in on Venmo. Big O, I just ordered some Nature Bee. Looking forward to the effects. Also, I saw Coach McDaniel at the UFC event in Miami. Didn't know he was a fan. Hyped. LOL. Nice. Very nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Enjoy that Nature Bee. Nature Bee is for me. I love me some Nature Bee. And remember that you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. We get 100% of the donation there. You can make it on YouTube. We love the super chat also, but we only get 70% there. YouTube takes 30%. So that's why we always mention Cash App or Venmo. And of course, you can send in a little Bitcoin. You can make a Bitcoin donation on Cash App or Venmo, which, by the way, Bitcoin is at $30,000. Holding strong at $30,000. Once it busted 28, boom, man, that thing jumped and it held strong at 28 for several weeks, which I thought was really, really important. That was cool. That was cool to see. Horn Dog says, the sad part is North Carolina's basketball country. No one supports that garbage. Everyone spends their money on the Carolina Panthers. I hope MJ sells. And Spooky Meyer says, I live here in Charlotte. Most, if not all, Hornets fans want him out. I mean, what? You got to be the dumbest Hornets fan in the world to want Michael Jordan still owning your team. Why? Because he played for North Carolina and won the national championship. I mean, seriously, bro, we have to separate the two. The guy was the best player of all time. I mean, I got to say, he's the greatest player of all time. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the person that says Kareem or Wilt Chamberlain or Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's up to you, or even LeBron James, whatever. If you want to do that, that's fine. I don't care about that, silly argument. We'll be going back and forth forever. But Great player, but you got to separate the two, man. Now, from the department that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, okay, because there is that department. And in this department, I step into it every once in a while, just like everybody else, because I'm a human being. But then again, maybe we have a large portion of Charlotte Hornets fans that are really stupid. You ever thought of that? Maybe we have a portion of Miami Heat fans that are really stupid. Maybe we have a portion of Los Angeles Lakers fans that are really stupid. Maybe we have a portion of Cleveland Cavalier fans that are really stupid. Maybe we have a portion of Dallas Maverick fans that are really stupid. In fact, we have a large portion of NBA fans that are really stupid. And from the really stupid department, which I come from here, that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is all confusing, isn't it? The NBA season was the highest attended regular season in NBA history. The league announced on Monday that 22,234,500 ticketed fans attended games, breaking the league's previous record of 22,124,559 fans set in 2017 and 18. Yeah, the league that has all kinds of players with load management, the league that, like, you show up to a Heat game and Jimmy Butler is not playing a quarter of the time. That league, the league that everybody takes a day off or 20. We have fans that are showing up by record numbers. So why the hell my stupid ass would think that this is going to affect the game? Why would I think that? Why would I think that consumers are smart and that they actually want to get their money's worth? Why would I think that, dude? When a record number ticketed fans this year in the NBA. I mean, this is as bad as the old Cub fans. Before Theo Epstein and they actually started winning something, remember the Cubs would suck every year. Wrigley Field would be loaded. The bleacher bums are getting drunk. And I would sit there and go, these are the stupidest consumers I've ever seen in my life. I used to say that all the time about Cubs fans. So you pay to lose? You just go there all the time and they suck? The Tribune company is not going to manage it right. They're going to mismanage it and all that. And yet you still show up. To me, that's a stupid consumer. That's not loyalty. That's stupidity. Those days, oh, you got to be loyal, show up to your team no matter what. Now, get the hell out of here, bro. If you're not doing your part, you're not trying to win, you're not trying to entertain. I'm not saying you have to win a title, but you got to be trying to win a title. Dolphins don't win any titles, but they bust their ass every year to try to put together a winning team. Every freaking year. They're trying. Panthers, they haven't won it, but man, don't tell me the Viola and C4 aren't trying. Right? The Moss brothers. Okay, they haven't gotten it right, but it's not from a lack of trying. Maybe they tried a little too hard early on. But whatever, it's not a lack of trying. I respect that. I can support that. Now, if you're not trying and you're incompetent and you can't get it done, then why the hell am I going to support that? So as I'm telling you about Michael Jordan and I'm telling you about all of this, and we've been talking throughout the year that this is a problem for the NBA, that, my God, how can fans deal with this stuff? And I know fans that are not renewing their season tickets next year for the Miami Heat because of all the days off that they took, Jimmy Butler included. And yet, I read this morning, arenas were packed on an average of 97% this season. There were 791 sellouts across the league, both setting new all-time records. The league's previous sellout record was 760, which was reached in the 18-19 season. This season marks just the second time in league attendance. Total was eclipsed by 22 million in the regular season. NBA games average 18,000 fans, a record for the league. The league's other top seasons for total attendance were set in 4 seasons leading up to the pandemic-stricken 1920. In January, the San Antonio Spurs set an NBA game attendance with 68,000 fans at the Alamo Dome against the Warriors, while NBA crowds reached all-time highs, seeing if end-of-season broadcast viewership metrics can match the pace after February's NBA All-Star Game had a record-low TV audience will be interesting. Viewership of the 21-22 season on ESPN, ABC, TNT increased 19% over 2021. Broadcast numbers for this season have yet to be announced and will come as the NBA is negotiating its next set of media rights deals starting in 2025. So after all of this crap that I've talked about, that, oh my God, these people aren't playing and people are not going to care and they're not going to show up to games as much, record attendance. What the hell do I know? Well, then again, you got people going to Motley Crue concerts and half their shit is on tracks. Vince isn't really singing. Tommy isn't really doing his drums. So we've got people that go see bands that aren't really even performing anymore. They're just out there lip syncing. And you're paying that kind of money for Motley Crue. Yeah, just in case, by the way, for those of you that have been to Motley Crue the last year or two, you've been watching a record when you go to the concert. So we have stupid consumers as it is for music, and people are still paying to go see that shit called Motley Crue. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that people are willing to go see Michael Jordan's team and overall go pay for NBA tickets when their stars aren't even playing. So do you think the NBA is going to care about players taking it off? When they're making hand over fist, they don't care. Because you're stupid enough to show up. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing that consumers are showing up to a terrible product with the Hornets and that the NBA stars all over the place are taking nights off and you all are still showing up and buying the tickets. Yeah. Zero need to make any change for the NBA. Zero. Now, if you want to make a change in your home, HOA, condominium, your business, call the great people at Cutter's Edge Pro. We love talking about Will and Mike and all the great people out there. You just saw our yard there in the break, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. I was actually hanging out last night in between the different showers, and the dogs would go out. And what I love is when they come back in, they're not bringing any mud, no dirt. Why? Because we got artificial turf. And that thing drains quickly, too, on top of all of that. So easy to maintain. If you have dogs, nothing better than the artificial turf. And they also add this little white sand to it, which brings down the temperatures, too. So even on a hot day, the dogs can lie on the grass, and it's not an issue. And it always looks phenomenal, man. And let me tell you, when you add landscaping to your home, you also add value immediately to your home. The value of your home increases exponentially. So please call the great people at Cutter's Edge Pro and make your home an oasis, because that's kind of what we've been able to do now. Now, I've enjoyed my backyard in the last 6 months more than I did in the last 17 years. In fact, probably in 1 week, I enjoy my backyard more than I did the last 17 years because there was nothing but grass and dirt back there. And all we did was open the back door so the dogs can relieve themselves and come back in. We did nothing in that backyard. Now we're hanging out. We're just yesterday, I was just hanging out with the wife on the back in the backyard under the roof there in the little porch in the back and just taking in the really nice, like a rain breeze, and on the phone or doing something, listening to music. And it's just a whole different, I would keep my back shades closed of the sliding glass door looking into the backyard, always closed because there was nothing to look back there. Now I leave them completely open so I can see the beautiful landscape. And it's beautiful watching it even in the rain or the wind or all those kind of things. Maiden, she loves now to just sit there and look out into the backyard and look out into the trees. She's also trying to see if there's like any critters that show up and cross the yard somewhere, because then she wants to attack, because Maiden is an attack dog. Okay. She's awesome, but she loves to attack, bro. Anyways, but listen, Cutter's Edge Pro, they do it all: tree trimming, landscape, outdoor lighting, irrigation. We change our lights. Dolphins play, we change it to Dolphins colors. Canes play, we change it to Canes colors. When they were making their run, we had the Canes colors on. You can do the same thing. Christmas is going. You've got lights already. I'm telling you, man, Cutter's Edge Pro. Go to their Instagram page and check it out, and call William or Mike and tell them that Big O sent you. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties, 954-472-0622. That's 954-472-0622. CuttersEdgePro.com. All right. Let's see. Big O, I think they're trying to make us forget about load management and hope we forget and try to make the fans hurry to get tickets, the Heat tickets for the next game. Well, actually, there's plenty of tickets for tonight's game. I just checked StubHub before I got on, and it was right in the $30 range for StubHub. So you can actually get tickets for tonight's game. It is not sold out, which I'm kind of not surprised, because it's, it's not a sexy matchup overall. I just hope they win, man. I just hope they win, because it would not be a good look if they don't win. Let me see. Looking for 2 tickets. Yep. Still $30, $31, $33. In section 400, section 300, you can get them all in the 30s. Do they have better? Section 100, here we go, $90 each. So you got some tickets. There's a lot of tickets available, folks. Okay. Section 101, row 16, $90. That's actually not a bad deal right there. But you can get upper level stuff really cheap. So if you want to go experience it, and there's a ton of tickets. Oh my God, there's a ton of tickets available for the Heat. Bitcoin holding strong over 30,000 right now. That is pretty awesome. Love to see that. Immutable X is up to $1.10. I was telling everybody that when it was at $1.02, $1.03, hey, this is the floor for it, man. Take advantage of it. Jasmine is up almost 6% at 61. So at least it's holding up after it went up a little bit. Well, it was all the way at 44. So it's been on a steady climb, I believe, since March 16. It's been on a steady climb up the entire time. Ethereum is up over $1,900. The Ethereum update is coming in tomorrow. The Shanghai update, I think it's called. I don't think that's going to have, like some people are talking about, a big price change for Ethereum. I don't believe. Every time there's one of these upgrades, Cardano, whoever does it, and they talk, this is going to be good. It really doesn't change the price. So I don't think I think the run is coming because it's just a bull run that's coming. And Ethereum eventually is going to explode. So that's why, more than anything else. Let's see. What else do we say here? The man, the myth, the legend is popping in. I just subscribed to YouTube TV just to get the NFL package. Got to watch my fins. Yeah, and they are going to charge $349. DirecTV was at $293. They are going to charge quite a bit. True Fin Fan, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, how dare you bring in sponsors? Classic. You guys are awesome. I only invested $100 when it was at 16K. Wish I put more. Well, Hunter, that's what happens with investing, is that it takes a little guts. It takes some risk. You know what I mean? And it's really hard for people to invest when it's going downward. It takes, and that's because it doesn't make sense. Right. And if you already invested and it's going downward, you're like, well, wait a minute. Am I losing more money and I'm putting more money into something I'm losing? And technically you are, but that's kind of how you make money. Because on the way down, if you buy it at its lowest point, then on the way back up is when you start to make money. And you make money quickly when you dollar cost average on the way down. Doesn't matter if it's stocks, doesn't matter if it's crypto, it doesn't matter what it is. That's why I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 80% of the people already that have been invested in Bitcoin for over a year and a half or something, like they're already in profits. So that's kind of what it is. And what is it, like 57% of Bitcoin has not moved in 2 years. 50%, 57% of it has not moved in 2 years because people know they're holding on to it. So it's kind of the way it is. And, you got to buy it all the way down. It's hard. It pulls at you because it doesn't make sense. But then when it bounces back, if you have conviction in anything you're investing, then follow that conviction. If you don't, then you will end up not being able to cash in as much as you like. What else do we have? YouTube TV, when I had it, kept raising their prices every other week on me, so I dropped it. YouTube TV is pretty good, bro. It's a good deal overall, I think, for what you get. That's what I've been on for a while. YouTube TV. Although I have Hulu and I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime, I have Disney, I have Apple. Thank carajo. I have a whole bunch of them. What am I going to do? You want to watch this? You want to watch that? I want to watch the MLS. I want to watch Ted Lasso. I got to have it. I want to watch all the Star Wars stuff. I got to have Disney. I got no choice. They get you, baby. All right, let's go. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little Canes. Manny Navarro and our Canes Ware Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Ware at Miami Fanware in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Ware, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Ware Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Doing great, O. How are you?
Very good. I'm just ready for the spring game. Come
Yes.
back to me, right? Isn't that what you used to sing, right? It was spring game, right?
Spring. It wasn't spring love. It was spring game. You're right. You nailed it.
Right. Spring game. Spring game. Will Stevie B be at the spring game singing spring game?
He might be playing somewhere on the defensive line. Who knows? He might be. Mario needs all the bodies he can get these days. I don't know. I think this spring. I'm sitting here writing my summary for the spring. What should we honestly take away from a bunch of practices where a bunch of guys were out? And I think it's a really small list of things you could take away in terms of real progress. I think other than the additions to the roster, which he did do that on the offensive line, he did bring in some bigger bodies. You can't answer questions like who is the go-to receiver. You can't answer questions like who is the best player on defense. Who is the star cornerback? Who's going to replace Tyreek Stevenson and DJ Ivey? All those things remain up in the air. And like I've been trying to say on this show for many weeks now, very important time here, starting this Saturday. That's when the new transfer portal window opens. It's open for 15 days, and we got to see who Mario and John Ruiz and the rest of Miami's NIL contingent can go out there and bring in to Miami.
Okay. All right, I like that. They got a new Judd in the house.
That's right. Your Judd Anderson, the new quarterback commitment. It's funny. You and I, we did this segment last Friday, and we were all like, okay, what's going to happen with Aaron Nolan? He's going to make a decision on Saturday night. He's the big 4-star quarterback from Georgia, the top 10 quarterback recruit. And I got a phone call maybe an hour or two after that, from somebody at Miami who said, hey, we're going to get another quarterback. We're going to get this Judd Anderson kid, which told me, all right, I guess Aaron Nolan listened to a lot of people and himself, said, I got to go play at Ohio State with all those receivers and the ridiculous offensive numbers that they put up. And so Miami obviously pivoted, and they took this kid, Judd Anderson, who is not highly ranked. I know the fan base is in an uproar because he's not an elite blue chip quarterback, but he is 6'6", 6'7", 220 pounds. A basketball kid who plays football as well. I think he averaged. Okay. Yeah, he's an athlete, no question, and he can fling it. I watched a lot of his film. He told me the last time he kind of measured his arm strength, which was 2 years ago, and he threw it about 65 yards. So I'm sure he's probably in the 70s. So in terms of arm strength and just getting the ball out there and having the raw goods, I think he's got it all. He's just one of these project type quarterbacks, and I think what I would tell a lot of Miami fans who are in distress because they didn't get Aaron Nolan is the quarterback position in college football nowadays, while you would love to get a 5-star quarterback and have him help you recruit, the reality is the guys that get on the field these days usually come via the transfer portal. That's the way a lot of quarterbacks move around. They sign with one place, they go somewhere, they sit for a year or two, and then they get in the transfer portal because they want to go play. And so I wouldn't worry from a talent standpoint where Miami is with the quarterback, but the fact that he's ranked in the thousands. I think the bigger effect for Miami here is the recruiting, because when you get an elite quarterback in your 2024 class or 2020, whatever class it is, whatever cycle it is, that does help you recruit. And I think that's where Mario's at a little bit of a disadvantage by not getting Aaron Nolan. But otherwise, from an actual talent perspective, and will he be a quarterback? Who knows? So long from now, or whether or not he'll ever play at Miami. But he's the kind of project who has at least the raw tools that you like. And if Miami and this program is successful, he'll be the quarterback in 3 years. And he'll be able to step in and run the offense the way that they want.
Well, listen, to me, I get that fans, they get all excited about Aaron Nolan, and he's got that cool name, and then 5-star, and then this is a 3-star guy, so then they're depressed about all of this. In the end, Mario can erase all of that stuff. Once you make a program a really good program that you start to see, the thing why Nolan is going over there is because Justin Fields is playing in the NFL.
Right.
He's Ohio State. And now here comes the new kid that is going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. And now all of a sudden he's getting that love. So they're becoming a quarterback type of university.
Right.
And he sees it. But that's what this man has to do. This is what Mario has to do. Mario has to make offense look sexy enough.
Oh, yeah.
That will want to line up to play here. And that hasn't gotten to that point, unfortunately, because it wasn't sexy what happened last year.
No.
It's, discombobulated, unfortunately. Now with the new offensive coordinator, you hope that you're kind of selling the goods, because in a way you got Tyler Van Dyke because your offense was sexy under a guy. You understand? Right. So that's the thing. And then he goes on to SMU and he's still lighting it up. And so he's going to attract people that are going to want to be a part of that. Mario has to create the kind of offense that makes it attractive for the receivers and for the quarterbacks. So that way we won't have these questions because we're still wondering who's the number one guy. And, we're hoping that what's the name of the kid that we always talk about that we hope he's
Jeremiah Smith, right?
Yeah. Or no, the other guy played last year. What's his name? No, the other guy.
Jakari Brown, who played last
year. Yeah.
who,
No. Receiver we're talking about. I'm talking about receiver.
Colby Young.
Kobe Young. Right. And so we're hoping that Kobe becomes that guy, that kind of stuff. To me, that's where all of this starts. And unfortunately, in his first year, he wasn't able to sell sexy to people. And that's a problem for Mario right now.
1,000%. And I think, the one thing I think Miami fans need to realize is Mario could end up building this thing from the inside out, really starting with the offensive line, starting with the defensive line. And, eventually, once you start winning up front, which is really the way you need to win anyway, right? That's the way Alabama and Georgia win. Once you start winning there and having more W's and less embarrassing losses to the Middle Tennessee States and FIUs and Dukes of the world, once you eliminate all of that, then the quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks and the elite receivers, they're going to want to come play here because they see a change. And so I get it. There's disappointment from the fan base because you didn't get Aaron Nolan. But I think the reality is you can't go 5-7 and have the kind of season you did a year ago and expect a bunch of recruits to want to line up and play here. And yes, John Ruiz helps and NIL helps. But again, this is why I always say the money only takes you so far. I've been around the block a few times. So I was at the Under Armour All-American game in December, and I wrote about what the recruits were telling me, which is, hey, I'm still going to the best program because they can help put me in the NFL. Miami doesn't have any of that, man. Look at the last time a Miami Miami's had one quarterback drafted since Ken Dorsey. One quarterback in over 20 years since Ken Dorsey was taken. That's hard to, it's hard to get quarterbacks to want to come here. Look, and they've recruited the position pretty well. They've had 12 or 13 blue chip quarterbacks since Ken Dorsey went out the door. And yet none of those guys have turned into anything special. I mean, Brad Kaya was as close as it got because he was ACC Rookie of the Year. And now you have a Tyler Van Dyke who was ACC Rookie of the Year. So that's it. That's all you've been able to accomplish with the quarterback position. They need better coaching. They need guys to start turning the talent they do get in through the door into better players and get them drafted and get them in the NFL. You go through Miami's NFL draft pick list by position. It's pretty embarrassing. I mean, the last 10 to 15 years, there's not a lot you can hang your hat on in terms of guys having examples of, hey, this is why I chose Miami. They're going to help me get to the league. And until you start to change that narrative, until Mario starts to overachieve with some, maybe some guys that have underachieved a long time in their career, you're not going to get great players to want to come here.
Yeah, and that's that's his next goal is to kind of get all that going. From what you've seen from that offense, what gives you that hope that it's going to be there?
Well, I think the offensive line should be better. That's the one thing I think you can say between the recruiting and the personnel additions that they've had here via the transfer portal and the freshmen that they've brought in here on the offensive line. I think that's the one group you look at and you say, okay, that's going to be a better group than the one we had a year ago. And not that the one last year was even that great, right? I mean, Tyler, you had your starting quarterback go out twice with shoulder injuries. So they certainly have a lot of room to improve. But I think size-wise, depth-wise, talent-wise, there's more talent at that position, a lot more talent at that position today since Mario took over than there was before. So you start with that. You start with Tyler Van Dyke being healthy. You take those two things and you hope that they're able to run the football so they have a little bit more balance and they don't have to rely on a bunch of unproven receivers to come through for you. Colby Young is talented. He's big. He's got a big body. Isaiah Horton, who's another big body kid. He's 6'4", 205. Those guys all have a lot of potential. But again, those aren't things you can bank on. I think what you can bank on for sure is the offensive line looking better and Tyler being hungry and healthy and in a better system for him to succeed this coming season. I think they're going to score more points. I think they're going to be a better offense. Are they going to be an elite offense? I think it all depends on how good those receivers develop.
What's left on the schedule here this offseason?
Well, look, you got two more practices. Today was one of the last three. You have another on Thursday. You got the spring game Friday. You have the transfer portal window. Starts April 15th, where you're going to see, I think, some guys here on this roster depart because they know that they're buried on the depth chart and they're not going to play. That'll open up some scholarships for Miami to play with and bring in guys at D tackle cornerback, I think receiver, outside receiver, they could use another guy for sure. Maybe at running back, depending on the injuries, to Trevante Citizen and where he is in his comeback. Maybe even a quarterback. It depends on how good Jakari Brown and Emory Williams are, and how much confidence I think the coordinator Shannon Dawson feels with those guys in case anything were to happen to Tyler Van Dyke this coming season. So I think there's positions that they're going to address here, and I think that's the calendar, and then we wait until August or July, end of July, early August for the schedule, the practice schedule to heat up for fall practice camp to start. And at that point, hopefully you have a lot of guys who are out, especially on the defensive line, the Leonard Taylors of the world, the Jared Harrison Hunts. You have some of the players on defense who are out that come back, and you're able to integrate those guys and see where you really are on the defensive line. I think this spring, a lot of opportunity for young players and unproven guys to get reps, but you can't go to war with those guys. You need the elite frontline guys to be back, and you need to pick up a transfer. You need to get another defensive tackle, I think, in the transfer portal, big-bodied guy. If you add those pieces, then maybe Miami does look like the way Mario wants to look on both sides of the line, offensive and defensive line. So that's what we need to watch here over the next few weeks and months. And I would say recruiting, at some point here, I would say, between June and July, that's usually when you start getting all these commitments. These kids take official visits. You're going to see a lot of kids committing during the summer months, kids that have come down here and taken unofficial visits in the last few weeks and months. You'll see the commitments start to roll out then with the top end kids. And hopefully, Miami's able to get some difference makers in this class.
What's the latest on facilities and improvements and those kind of things?
I was told ground should break on the new football facility in fall. I don't know exactly which month yet, if it'll be August, September, but they're in the planning stages for when they'll actually break ground on stuff. I think they're clearing out some of the area right now, but in terms of actually building, it's a 3 to 4 year project of what they're going to be doing, and hopefully in that window, Mario's able to get this program back to where they hope it is, and this thing just sort of picks up steam. But yes, the fall is when they're supposed to break ground on the new facility. And I think John Ruiz, he's going to show up Friday and unveil some plans for a stadium that he would like to build. The stuff that he's been talking about for a while. So we'll get a chance to get a look at that during the spring game on Friday.
Is his crazy ass going to buy him out of that lease too?
I know. I think he thinks. I think he thinks it's possible. Again, that lease is through 2032, so a lot of years left on that thing. And I know from talking to people in Miami's administration.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. It's a long time. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of money. So we'll see. I know. There's been a lot of articles written lately about his businesses and the stock of Life Wallet, people criticizing the direction that it's going, and they're expecting him to fall on his face type of thing. We'll see about all that. He keeps swearing that everything is fine financially. So
it's actually a great concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, because a lot of people don't even know what Life Wallet is,
right?
And what Life Wallet has, it has all your medical information.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a life wallet. And so if you end up in a car accident or something like that, they can immediately have all of your medical information in one,
easy to find place. Yeah,
super easy to find place. And it is so convenient because anybody has changed doctors or had to do something.
Huge pain in the ass.
Yes, and it's a pain in the ass, all that kind of stuff. And the Life Wallet concept is actually absolutely genius.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually something that I think everybody needs, to be quite honest, because it certainly is going to help you in an emergency that somebody's got to take care of you, and they got to know if you have any allergies or anything. You may not be able to represent yourself at that moment. Or somebody that knows you may not have all your information personally on your health issues, because obviously that's all personal for all of us.
Yep.
And so the Life Wallet kind of helps these doctors and maybe helps you in a very, important or an emergency like situation that information alone could save your life, So it's actually a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Really
is. I don't disagree with you. I think it's absolutely a cool concept. And look, they're trying to branch out into a lot of different areas. They want to do some media stuff. They've got, a couple of reporters that they hired to report from the Final Four, and, all their own sort of athletes that are signed. It's the way of the future, I guess, right? With the the way so many media companies are struggling. So look, it is what it is, and he's still a valuable asset to the University of Miami. I mean, look, let's face it, they wouldn't be getting a lot of these players if there weren't some good NIL deals. And I know, look, he's not the only one pouring money into it now. That's another good thing. There are more people involved, but he is orchestrating a lot of it. He does run a lot of these NIL deals for people who want to donate money to get players to come to the University of Miami and to stay there. So he is a pivotal person in all of this.
All right, maybe it's just me. I don't understand this question, but maybe you'll understand it a little better. I don't even know.
Sure.
But JS is asking, hey, Manny, where do you think Miami stacks with other Florida teams as of spring football? You know what that means.
I mean, I think he means, where do they stack up in terms of, the potential for this coming season, right? I mean, I think Florida State is the clear-cut number one coming off a 10-3 season, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. I would think Florida and Miami are next on the list. I think UCF, I think they've done a good job to this point, building up that roster, but they're going into the Big 12. It's a different animal when you've got to play a Power 5 team every single week with big-ass offensive linemen and big-ass defensive linemen. And there are a lot of kids who are leaving that UCF program after this past season and transferred and went to the NFL or whatever. So they've got a lot of turnover on that roster. So I think they're probably the fourth best team. And then after that,
of course, the powerhouse.
You got FIU. I would say FIU, USF, and FAU are probably all tied right now for last. I don't know that there's really any separation between any of those programs. Although I will say, look, at least FAU and USF, they're pouring some more money into their programs. USF's trying to have their own on-campus stadium now. Sort of join the other college program in the state.
Who would be number 5 in the state after?
That's a good question. USF is look, they're being left behind by their twin brother UCF. So
terrible. FIU terrible. FAU might be the one. Actually,
well, they hired Tom Herman, and he's a former Power 5 guy from Texas, right? And you would think that he's got to be given some level of support financially. I mean, look, FAU has had the better record in those programs the last few years. Yeah. But I don't know that right now you could sit there and say, okay, you put them on the field and they're, clear cut the number 5 program.
We're forgetting that's like half decent. Like Jacksonville is not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody. Can anybody mention?
I hope FAU takes a step forward because they
might be the one after UCF. FAU might be number 5 in the state, bro.
They probably are, but I don't know that it's clear cut. Like we've got to see how the kind of job that these guys, Tom Herman and these guys do the next couple of years, because to me they're still not recruiting at an elite enough level to separate themselves the way UCF and some of these other programs have. So it all comes down to that. What kind of talent can you bring in consistently?
Maybe Florida Memorial.
There you go.
Lions, baby. Lions. Come on, man. They roar.
That's right. What? Nova Southeastern, right? They've got a program now too. And
the Sharks. Yeah.
There you go.
Coming
there you
out.
Go.
They're the only champions in town.
That's true. So
gotta give them props, man. All right, what do you got going on at the Athletic? So folks can check you out, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to have my spring takeaways from Miami coming out probably tomorrow. We're going to have an ACC mailbag. Going to do a little ACC mailbag with Grace Rayner talking about the conference. And then this weekend, I'm going to be in Orlando for the OT7 tournament. It's another 7-on-7 with a bunch of kids. So I'll have some recruiting coverage. And I'm part of the new podcast, the Stars Matter podcast on the Athletic website, where we talk a ton of recruiting. So if you want to hear recruiting, you'll have Ari Wasserman, Grace Rayner, Mitch Light, my editor, and myself, the 4 of us talking. We record that every Wednesday, and I think it comes online Wednesday night or Thursday morning. So that's another little addition to the Wide Right podcast, which I'm still going to do and hopefully record a new episode this week.
All right, and follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. We'll catch up later in the week.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. Canes Ware. Order over $99 and you will get free shipping anywhere in the country. Now, if you want to drive over to Davie, man, it's easy. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go check it out. They've got almost anything and everything with a UM logo on it. They've got some Dolphin gear, some Marlins gear, some Panthers gear, some Inter Miami gear. And am I forgetting anything? All the local teams, pretty much. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go online at caneswear.com and order online, man. Again, over $99, you will get free shipping. We will talk to Manny Navarro on Friday.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Kane's Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Kane's Wear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You know, you're on social media, you're talking to Manny Navarro, and then this pops up on social media. And it's Paige Sporanic on a golf course somewhere, completely naked, with just golf balls. And she's asking, got balls? Just saying. I'm just saying. I am just here to facilitate the fun. I am a facilitator of fun. And Paige Sporanic is all about fun. Okay? Fun, fun, fun. Till my daddy takes a cart of golf balls away. Paige Sporanic. I tell you. Paige or Hallie? No, it's always Hallie. Always Hallie. But I you got to give beautiful women the credit that they deserve, okay? And Paige Sporanic is a natural beauty. There's no doubt about that. But always Hallie. I'm not going to pick anybody over. Only my wife, obviously. But outside of the reality of my wife, let's just stay in fantasy. I go Hallie over everybody, okay? It's Hallie over the field, always. Halle Berry is le pinnacle. But Paige Sporanic, that, my friends, is what we call a smoke show, okay? That's a smoke show. Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny, smoke show. Smoke show. Bryson is asking, is Omar Kelly no longer with I Am Athlete? You are very quick. Only took you about a month to figure it out. Yeah. He's on Sports Illustrated and on this platform. Okay. So catch him Wednesdays here. The Big Smoke Show. That's exactly it. Think Dodgers Blue or Think Blue Dodgers. That is definitely the Big Smoke Show. Paige Sporanic. Big O, Colleen Wolfe or Kay Adams? I know Kay. Which one's Colleen Wolfe? Let me see. I got to see who she is, bro. Let's see. Oh, I know who Colleen Wolfe is. She's a cutie. Yeah. I'm going to go Kay Adams slightly over Colleen Wolfe. Yeah, I know who Colleen Wolfe is. I've seen her a lot of times on the NFL Network. She's one of the hosts, and she's cute. Yeah. I'll go Kay Adams. Yeah, neither one are really my style, but I'll go Kay Adams. Because I'm kind of more into a voluptuous body. I need more curves. Skinny girls are cool, but they're cute, but kind of need more curves for me. I'm Latin, bro. I have that Latin blood in me. My women got to look like guitars. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll go with I'll go with K. Slight. Not by much. Slight. Both very cute, I'll tell you that. That's for sure. They're both very cute girls. That I'll say. Elizabeth Warren or Hillary Clinton? What are you trying to do? Kill me? Ew. Gross. Damn. You couldn't hit me with somebody like, I don't know, Heidi Klum or Christy Brinkley. You know, those are older women, just like these, but they actually look good. Carissa Thompson. She's a good-looking girl too. Again, not my style, but yeah. Miami Sports Fanatic says, listen, Big O, my man, Joy Taylor is that woman, my brother. Curves for days and a beautiful. Yes. Exactly. I would agree with that 1,000%. Anthony Campos, Big O, Jimmy Butler, 4-year project. What do you give it? Oh, no. I give it you say B+. I give Jimmy has been an A. His production, he did everything he was supposed to do. Okay. I fear for the rest of this contract. He already missed a quarter of the season this year. He's going to miss more. And as this team, if this team does not become anything close to a championship contender, which they're nowhere close to it, I don't know if you're going to see all-out Jimmy for the next couple of years like this. It'll be maybe mailing it in a little bit more because his body is, so beaten up at this point. So it was a great signing by the Heat. It was a failure by the Heat because they did not get the star next to Jimmy. And the day they acquired him, that was my only, prerequisite. I don't know what my only requirement out of that deal. I said it over and over again. If you don't acquire somebody better than him, or at least his equal, and they never did, this trade will never really amount to anything. And he's gotten us more than what we expected with the Eastern Conference and at the finals. I never expected that. So between him and Spo, they've milked this for as much as they can. I can't ask for anything else from Jimmy. But and I don't blame him for wanting an extension and getting his extension. I blame the Heat for giving him the extension. That's what I do. Because I would not have given him this extension. I really fear the next 3 years. So as good as it's been, I don't know if it's going to end like this. That's my real concern with the Jimmy Butler thing. What's your Mount Rushmore of beautiful ladies over 50? Wow. Okay, Halle Berry's number one, like by miles. Oh, Salma Hayek. Oh my God, Salma Hayek. Yes, over 50. She is freaking like that much behind Halle Berry. Like just un tiling, as we say in Spanish. She is so ultra fine for her age. She's always been ultra fine. But I'm saying for her age, she is, my Lord, she is perfection. So I'll go Salma Hayek number 2. Trying to think of over 50. Oh, Angela Bassett is pretty good. I'm going to go with that's a good one. That's a really good one. I like Angela Bassett. There's number 3. I'm not going to put Sofia Vergara there. Do you know why I'm not going to put Sofia Vergara there? She's super fine. Don't get me wrong. But if I took the makeup off, and I've seen the makeup off of Sofia Vergara, what's it called? Halle Berry. I've seen it. She's done it on her Twitter page. I watched Salma Hayek do it the other day, right? And Angela Bassett. They have natural beauty, bro. I think she looks great. She's super sexy. She's super hot. Sofia Vergara. But if you took the makeup off, I don't think she's going to look a tenth of what Angela Bassett, Halle Berry, or or Salma Hayek look without makeup. So I'm going to go with those three. I'm not putting Sofia Vergara in my Mount Rushmore. I can't put her in my Mount Rushmore, but I got to say Susanna Hoffs looks freaking amazing, but she's really skinny. So as I told you, I need some curves in my road. Demi Moore is pretty good. Cindy Crawford, pretty good. J-Lo. There you go. That's my fourth one. That's it. I'm good. I'm done. Salma Hayek, J-Lo, Angela Bassett, and Halle Berry. I'm done. That's it. Way to go, Jayhawk. Thank you for reminding me of the great J-Lo. Thank you, Troy Ortiz, for reminding me of the great J-Lo, because you got to give J-Lo her props, bro. She looks phenomenal. And the Colombian babe has not gotten there yet, right? Shakira's not 50. She's in her 40s, right? If I'm correct. So we can't put Shakira because, boy, Shakira would jump J-Lo if she was in her 50s, but she's not. So Jane Seymour still looks great. You're right. She looks great for her age. She looks phenomenal. She's beautiful. She's always been beautiful. Always. Jane Seymour has always been a beautiful woman. So Phillies pound the Marlins yesterday. Poor Sandy got nailed. 10 hits, 9 earned runs in 4 innings. He's got a 5.79 ERA, dude. Wow. Aaron Nola tonight against Jesus Luzardo. We'll see if Jesus can deal like he dealt the other day. Brother, to just hang in 500 will be such a mission for the Marlins. They will struggle to be 500. And they are 4-7, and this is kind of the road that they're going to be on, that they'll be flirting with, 3, 4, 5, 10 games under 500. That's kind of the team they're going to be, I think, all season long. What are you going to do? It is what it is, as they say. Emmanuel Ogbah is going to Africa. And you would look at that story and say, well, okay, whatever, PR move, this, that, no big deal. And if you go to the Palm Beach Post, and our guy Joe Shadd has an article on the defensive end, Emmanuel Ogbah, and he's going to Nigeria. And Ogbah and his family, they moved from Africa, to the United States when he was 9 years old. Ogbah took advantage. He earned a scholarship to play American football, and guess what? Now he's in the NFL. So he is posting on his Instagram that he's headed on a plane to Kenya for a camp in Nairobi that spans from Monday through Saturday. He says growing the NFL globally is a major strategic priority for the league, and developing our footprint and fandom in Africa is an important part of this vision. And that's part of the quote from Brett Gosper, who is head of NFL Europe and Africa. Ogbah was selected along with Giants defensive standout Osi Umenyora, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and he was born in the UK to Nigerian parents. So what are they going to end up doing there? Well, there is talent identification camp and an NFL flag football showcase. There's also a series of training clinics for local teachers and Kenyan Federation of American Football to help develop coaching skills to deliver NFL flag football and expand participation across the country. So the NFL recently held scouting events for 200 athletes in 6 African countries. Other players, by the way, Brian Asamoah from the Minnesota Vikings is from Ghana. Aaron Ebikiti from the Falcons is from Cameroon. Paulson Adebo from the Saints is from Benin. And Ikem Ikwanu from the Panthers is from Nigeria. I probably butchered those names. I'm used to it because of Alzigari, so I apologize. It happens to me all the time. I don't care, but some people get bent out of shape. Anyway, so, he's hoping that this will open up doors for other youngsters. He says, I can't take anything for granted, Ogbah said. Seeing my dad's motivation gave me the drive to be the best that I could be. And I think it's so cool because what have we talked about here on the show? That the next expansion for the NFL is in Europe. And as I've said, it's not one team or two. You need to expand an entire division. Now, will you do it in 1 year? No, you'll probably do it in a series of a couple of years, to 1 year, to another year, and those kind of things. And I've told you my idea before of an international practice facility in Europe, and then put it in the 4 cities that probably make sense, like London, Berlin, Barcelona, and Paris, right? And this is how you're going to grow the game because baseball is played in so many other countries and they get the international talent coming to the majors. Basketball is played in so many other countries and the NBA is getting the influx of international players and it's made them better, just like baseball, because we just don't have enough American players. You got to go out and get more and get elite players from other parts of the world, right? Hockey, same thing. It's not as common hockey as basketball is, right? Obviously, it might be as common as baseball, right? Because baseball is more directed in Caribbean and some Central and South American countries, not a ton. And hockey's the same way. It's only limited in a certain amount of countries, right? But still, it allows you to bring in more talent from other parts of the world to better your league. And because these leagues are greedy, they want to expand, they want to add more teams and more cities, and you got to find the talent to do that. And now we're running out of cities in the United States. Now we don't have enough professional cities. So what do we have to do? We've got to go abroad. And Europe is the next step. And this African trip for Ogbah and other players is a great way to sell the game and to start to scout and develop new players. And we need other countries to start to pick up the game of American football. That way they can get better and they can get to the point where they can actually come to compete in colleges and maybe even play in the NFL. So this is actually a really smart move by the NFL, which obviously there's a reason why they're so damn successful. But it runs deep in so many ways that if you want to see teams 33, 34, 35, and 36 expand, it'll probably be in Europe. And this is how you do it. You need to develop people all over Europe and other continents. They need to pick up the beautiful game of football that you and I love a lot. So cool move by Ogbah, making the trip over to Africa. Vita Guerra's at 49. Yeah, but Vita Guerra face-wise. Sorry, man. I know. She's got an amazing body, Vita Guerra. She's been, what was that magazine that put her on the FMH? Was it FMH? FMX? Whatever, right? Something like that. One of you will help me out. That's how she kind of made her name. She was one of those kind of FMH models, or is it FMH? Whatever the abbreviation is. Somebody help me out with that. I'm probably mixing up the letters or something. Madonna. Vita's not better, Anthony. Face-wise, she's not, bro. She's not. I'm sorry. I know her body is absolutely exceptional, but she face-wise, she falls behind there. What takes her over the top is her body. Miami Sports Fanatic says, I know what McFly said about Wilkins, and he's true to his word. However, Greer is a gunslinger, and if he gets a call, he can't refuse. Like the Tunsil trade, he'll most likely pull. What's your gut say? What do you mean? But what are you talking about? Trading Wilkins? He's not going to trade Christian Wilkins. There's no way you trade Christian Wilkins. You can't, bro. You need him on this team. Oh, are free agents going to want to go to Europe and pay those high taxes? It is FHM? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Catherine Zeta-Jones, always beautiful. I would do that. I wouldn't put her in my Mount Rushmore, if that's what you're asking. You know what, Troy? You pay high taxes in some states more than others, right? And you're still playing. You play baseball for the Toronto Blue Jays. Still playing. Playing for the Montreal, what's it called? Canadians. Toronto Maple Leafs. So and taxes are high in Canada. Taxes are high in California. You know, I think the taxes are high also in New York, if I'm correct. You only have 36 of them because when we're talking about Europe now, right? There's only 4 other teams that are going to be part of this thing. So there's only 36 that play in the NFL. So would you rather make $10 million? And let's say in Florida, you're making 9. In California, you're making 8. And let's say for shits and giggles in Europe, you're making 7.5. Okay, so you're turning down $7.5 million. What else you got to do? If you're not a football player, what are you doing? Are you doing anything that'll get you $1 million? Forget 7. Are you doing anything that'll get you $1 million? I didn't think so. So, Troy, if you have a chance to be one of the 32 coaches, you take it. Even if you have to coach the Bengals and deal with Mike Brown and his cheapness, or the Chargers and the Spanos' cheapness, or Jeffrey Loria, and you take the job, don't you? You know it's going to be heartache. You know it's going to be heartbreak. You know it's going to be letdown after letdown, right? You know that if you're the coach for the Hornets, your boss, Michael Jordan, isn't going to do anything to put you in a position to be successful. You know that because he is a failure, but you're going to take that job with the Hornets, right? Now, Daniel Snyder is a scumbag, allegedly. Anyway, it's only one of 32 jobs. So either you're paying high taxes in a state, or you're dealing with the Spanos, you're dealing with the Mike Brown, you're dealing with the Dan Snyder. What are you going to do? You're not going to take the job because you have to work for Jeffrey Loria. No, you're taking the job because there's only 30 of them. So since there's only 36, whether you have to pay higher taxes or lower taxes, whether you have to work for a good owner or a bad owner, it doesn't matter. You take the job. Because there's only 30, 32, 36 in the entire world. So you have no choice. You know, you can work for a big-time radio company, or you can work for a mom-and-pop ownership group. So, you know, you're going to have your pluses and minuses for it all. You might make a little more money in the corporate big one, but you'll deal with a lot less bullshit with the mom-and-pop one. So, give and take. That would be my answer, Troy. There's a give and take for everything. Everything in life. Let's see. Jayhawk says, good one, Big O. Vita, face-wise, falls behind. It's the tooth, right? If you are toothful with yourself, are you going to put Vita Guerra, face-wise, anywhere near Angela Bassett, Halle Berry, J-Lo, and Salma Hayek? Come on, bro. Come on. Face-wise. It's not even close. She's like a 5 in a face, and these are all 10s. It's not even close. It's not a discussion. It's nothing, bro. You have no argument, nothing to stand on. So that's why the other 4 are way better, because they all got smoking bodies and they're all still impeccably beautiful. Rachel Wise is still amazing at 53. I know who that is, and how come I'm forgetting her face now? Oh yeah. She is a beautiful girl. Yes. She's 53, huh? Didn't realize that, but she is pretty. She's prettier than Vita Guerra, but Vita Guerra, absolutely smokes her when it comes to body. Yeah, I'm in major corporate America, and there is a lot more BS to unpack. And brother, why do you think I'm doing this? I wanted to get the hell out of QAM already, bro. I saw what was going on in that corporate bullshit world, and I'm thank the Lord that Sean and I can stand on our own. Obviously, not everybody at QAM or 790 or very few people can leave a corporation and go stand on their own. Most people can't do that. Levy can do it. A couple guys can do it, but there aren't a lot of us that can go do that. Most guys and women have to work for a corporate entity because they cannot stand on their own. So I am fortunate. I am super blessed that Sean and I can stand on our own, so we don't have to take all the corporate bullshit that goes with it, or that I'm just constantly fighting against. How about Alicia Keys? Absolutely gorgeous, both natural and made up. Yep, I agree. What a talent, too. God, her voice. Man, her voice is magical. Shit, dude. She is just special, dude. Love Alicia Keys. I got a lot of her music. Flipper says, did I ever mention that Halle Berry sided or sat next to me in Santa Monica back in the 90s? And you didn't like marry her right there and then? Rutledge isn't 40 yet. Oh, okay. Celia Cruz was my teenage crush. I'm gonna leave it at that. Just not even gonna touch that one. Okay. Just let it slide. So Tua had his luau yesterday. The luau with Tua. And media-wise, I mean, I don't know what could have been more of a waste, because he really didn't say anything. You know what I mean? Not that I expect him to say much, but he was just, basically, Tua and excited, and that's kind of the money quote out of it. Off-season training's been good. Been working on strength in many areas, been chipping away at things that I felt like I needed to work on to get where I feel where I feel I can get to in the latter parts of the season, right? And he also said, I'm very excited. I think our entire team is excited to get back out there, get to meet a lot of the newer guys, getting to meet a lot of the guys that have been in this system for a whole year now. That's it. Those were the quotes, right? But there wasn't much newsworthy of anything. But I wanted to have a little fun with this, because narratives, you know how we've talked about this and we've crushed all these stupid Tua narratives for many years now. And so one of the idiots that does the Tua narratives at Pro Football Talk, and remember, he keeps thinking that Tua, or keeps saying that Tua was under 200 pounds, which it's not true, because obviously he doesn't cover the team, doesn't get to see Tua up close like we do. And that he's in the 2 teens to 220, area. So this is how, again, agendas, narratives, this is how media feeds you bullshit and lies to you and all that. So here's Pro Football Talk putting Tua, who the Dolphins listed at 6'1", 217 last season, has gained muscle since the end of last season. And he's trying to, who listed 217 because he's still questioning it, which he's easily 217. Easily, if you hang around him and you see him, you can tell because he does have a lower lower body that is actually thick. And in that picture, the latest one that came out this past weekend, the lower body really hasn't changed much. It's more of the upper part is what you're seeing from the shoulders and the neck. That's the part that looks a little thicker. Okay. And that's where he's probably doing some neck and shoulder, exercises and training. So he's probably strengthening that core because he had to strengthen the core around his hip last year. So he obviously can get back to where he was because his first year, he wasn't back to where he was. He was just rehabbing the hip. So in the last offseason, he's strengthening and strengthening that core and that hip. And that's why you saw him move around a little better. And, it looked like he was actually throwing with a little bit more zip and everything because his core was stronger, obviously. So this year, this offseason, this is the core that he's also working on, the shoulders and the neck and those kind of things. But it's just funny to see the people that are, constantly wrong on all this kind of stuff because a ton of you out there that said Tua couldn't play, you're wrong now. But now you switched it over to the injury stuff, which is the only thing that you should have had on him from the get-go, that you should have only been concerned about his injury, never about his play. That was stupid, that he doesn't have an arm, that he can't run a high-powered offense, that he plays too much golf, that he's too short, whatever it was. He can't throw the deep ball, all those stupid things, stupid narratives that were shot down by Tua last year. So now this is the next one. But here's a writer who is, obviously still leaning to the bullshit that he's been putting out there that is not true. But you've got to put who the Dolphins listed. Because I know where that listed bullshit is coming from. But that's all right, dude. That's all right. The kid will do what he has to do this year, stay on the field, and he'll shut everybody up doing that. And he's going to have a great year for the Miami Dolphins. I truly believe that. Anyway, what else do we have going on? Where is Bitcoin at? Holding strong. I mean, I'd be a pretty greedy son of a bitch if I say, well, it's only at 30. It was stuck at 28 for a couple of weeks. Now I'm fine if it stays here at 30 for a week or two or 3 or 4. I'm good with it. I love a nice slow climb. That's fine with me. Build a floor, have some resistance. There was that resistance, remember, at 25, where it hit 25 like 4 or 5 times before it busted out. And then it had a resistance at 28 for a couple of weeks now. And then it busts out. Now it's at 30. I hope it has some resistance here at 32, at 30 for a little bit more. And then it'll move to 31, 32, 33, 34. And I hope it finds a little more resistance again. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good. It's good. All right, let me tell you something. I'm not surprised if there's a little bit of a dip here at one point or another, back to 26, 25, 27, something like that. And before it catapults and skyrockets to 40. I would not be surprised if you get just a little bit of a retraction because you got to understand. You got to think about this. You and I, brother, I buy $25 at 16,500, or you buy $100, or some other guy buys 500. We're probably not looking to get out at 20, at 30. You know what I mean? We're making a little money, but nothing that's going to change our lives. What are we going to do? Pay an extra car bill or something, or an electric bill? That's not enough. You really want it to shoot up because we're not rich. But the rich people, let's say you put $1 million at 16.5. Dude, you almost have another $1 million. It's at 30. You've gone up 82%. So you've got about $800,000. So you pull out some money. So I can see some of the really like heavy players that put some money in there, 100 grand, a million, 10 million, 50 million, 100. Yeah, those people exist. They're not you and I. You and I aren't going to retire on Bitcoin ever because, we'll make extra money, but, it's not like I'm never going to retire. I'll make some extra money, and it's great to make a little extra money. But I don't have the kind of money to make big, big money. You know what I mean? I'm not that lucky. Most of us aren't. We're working stiffs. But that's why I can see a little volatility where it might check down a little bit. It hasn't done that so far on this run. But I wouldn't be surprised that if at one point or another it goes down $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 because a couple of whales said, I put in 100 million. I got an extra 80 million. Yeah, let me take out 40. Wouldn't you? You know what I mean? If you put $1,000 and you have an extra 800, what's $800 going to do for you, bro? 2 car bills, 3 car bills, a couple of electric bills. What's that going to do for you? Nothing. And what are you going to do? Take out 400? No, you're going to keep riding it. That's what I would do because I don't have a lot of money. But the people that have $100 million or $50 million or $10 million, you can't blame them. If they have 8 million or 80 million sitting there in profit and they take all 80 or half of it or, whatever, and that's where you get your volatility from. Understand? So I could see even that still happening a little bit. Not that it's going to have any kind of plummet. I don't think that we're done there. We're headed for a bull run. Like we are headed up all the way. But I can see a little contraction, just a little. I can see it happening. And if it does, take advantage of that dip, baby. Tua looks 225, 240. He's definitely not going to be that because you'll lose speed. You'll lose, some quickness. And he's trying to develop some quickness. So he'll gain muscle, but still be lean, and stay. I don't think he'll get over 220, if anything. Or 225, maybe. No more than that. And his hip motion look hitch free. He looks smooth. Yeah. Susie's always been cute. Terry Lynch. Susie Colbert. Always been a cute girl. Let's see. What else do we have? We got a Mariah Carey vote in there, huh? What else do we have going on in the world of sports? So Rudy Gobert punched his teammate because he called him a bitch because Rudy was playing hurt. I read that story this morning. Rudy's pissed. He's playing hurt with back spasms, and his teammate calls him a bitch, so he punches him. He's been suspended. What a disaster of a trade. God, what a disaster trade. Yeah. So, hey, by the way, where are all the Bitcoin haters? What happened to you people? I'm still waiting for those Bitcoin smartasses. Aren't they going to talk about a Ponzi scheme now? Like, it's the best part. The ones that used to tell me or still think it's a Ponzi scheme, and yet they don't look at the dollar like the real Ponzi scheme. Like you got the government now trying to shove CBDCs down your throat. God, could they lie to you any more than what they're doing now? Really is amazing to me. I got to be honest. It's baffling to me. And the fact that we believe this kind of shit it's sad. Don't fall for CBDCs. I'm telling you. Okay? Do not fall for CBDCs. That is bad news. Okay? Bad news. Little music history today. April 11th. On this date back in 2002, in a desert outside of Las Vegas, Kid Rock proposed to the former Mrs. Tommy Lee, Pamela Anderson. On this date back in 1966, the year I was born, Buffalo Springfield, the group that helped launch the careers of Neil Young, Stephen Stills, Richie Furay, and Jim Messina, made their live debut at the Troubadour in Hollywood. In 61 on this date, Bob Dylan played his first live gig in New York City. He opened up for John Lee Hooker at the Gerrards Folk City. In 2014 on this date, Nirvana, Kiss, Hall & Oates, and Peter Gabriel were among the inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 81, Eddie Van Halen married a major crush for me when I was a child, Valerie Bertinelli, from One Day at a Time. And I got to tell you something, as a young man in the 70s, I made it religion because we didn't have anything to record. We didn't have no VHS or beta in those days. That's the first one that came out. We didn't have no cable. We didn't have no DVRs, nothing. You wanted to see a show, your ass needs to be in front of that television. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, especially gents, I was in front of the tube watching Valerie Bertinelli every single week. That was my hottie, one of my hotties when I was a kid. God, I love Valerie Bertinelli when she was young. Woo! 67, on the way back from visiting the Beach Boys' Smile Sessions, Paul McCartney dreamt up the idea for the film, The Magical Mystery Tour. In 92 on this date, Pearl Jam appeared on Saturday Night Live. In 77 on this date, Alice Cooper played in Sydney in front of 40,000 fans. At the time, the biggest rock show in Australia's history. After the gig, he was placed under house arrest at his hotel because a promoter claimed he paid the shock rocker for a 1975 Australian tour Alice never did. The two settled it after it was discovered the promoter also broke the agreement they made. In 94 on this date, Oasis released their first single, Supersonic. It would go on to be their first charting song in America, peaking at number 11 on the Billboard Modern Rock Song charts. In 1970 on this date, Peter Green quit Fleetwood Mac while on their tour in Germany. However, to avoid a breach of contract, he agreed to finish the trek. In 81 on this date, Hall & Oates' Kiss on My List started a 3-week run on the singles charts. So that is what happened in rock history. So let me ask you something. If you got the Atlanta Hawks playing tonight against the Miami Heat in a play-in game, okay? And I know that Miami does a good job against Trae Young. So Trae Young should be very motivated to put on one hell of a performance tonight, correct? I mean, that's what you would figure, that he'd be like, damn, these freaking guys always do a number on me. I'm dying to stick it to them. Okay, you know the talk in Atlanta is about trading Trae Young. And like I read an article this morning where they talk about the Thunder getting Trae Young for Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, Oliver Sarr, Isaiah Joe, and 2 first-round picks. They talk about the Rockets getting him for Kevin Porter Jr., Sean Tate, Ty Washington, 3 first-round picks. They talk about the Magic getting him, Hawks getting Franks Wagner, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, and a first-round pick. Boy, Gary Harris has been traded everywhere. Okay? They talk about the Pelicans getting him for Zion Williamson and Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple's been all over the place too. But my point is, how motivated could Trae Young be at this point in time when his run with Atlanta has become a disaster? He is unwanted. He isn't necessarily clamored by all the fans, and people kind of see the holes in his game, that he's a skinny little kid who, yeah, he shoots, but he doesn't necessarily shoot at a high percentage, and he isn't really a number one on any team. If Trae Young is your number one, your team is not very good because he's not efficient enough to be a number one. And he's not good enough as a two-way player. In fact, he's only a one-way player. I shouldn't even mentioning two is an insult to two, just to the number two. Okay? He needs to stay in three dog night territory. One is the loneliest number. That's the only one thing he does. That's it. So Trae Young, if you're Trae Young, what's going on in your head right now? Is a great playoff performance against the Heat tonight really going to put anybody over the top and say, oh, I want him? And by the way, you're motivated to go to the Magic? Motivated to go to Houston? Some of these places that they're trying to send you to, they're not the best situations out there. Pelicans aren't too bad, but I don't know how he fits there, a ball dominant player that, it's a weird thing. I will commend Trae Young tonight if I see a all-out, balls-out effort by him. If I see that from him, then I'm going to say, wow, this guy's a true pro all the way, that it doesn't matter what's around him. He's going to do what's best for his teammates and himself, and he's going to play as hard as he possibly can and be as effective as he can. If he does that tonight, I'll be impressed. But if you see kind of a half-ass effort, I don't know if you thought about all of this. I don't know if you knew about all of this, but now you know about it. And let's see if human nature, to a certain extent, takes over for Trae Young, and maybe they're not in the game by the third quarter, and you see a guy that's kind of mailing it in. And you're going to know now why. Because he's already being rumored to be traded. He isn't really loved in that city. Like, oh my God, he's Dominique Wilkins to us or whatever, that kind of deal. No, he's not really. He was embraced early on, but now after the last couple of years, he's lost a lot of luster in that town. I'll be interested to see what kind of Trae Young we get tonight against the Miami Heat. Play-in tournament, Miami's favored by 5. I'm not touching this game because I can't trust the Heat. I can't trust the Heat. I can't lay the 5 or take the 5. This is just one of those where I just am going to stay away from this game. Okay? Just saw the price for the NFL Sunday ticket, $349. Yes, for YouTube subscribers, $449 for non-YouTube subscribers. Yeah, it's almost cheaper to the bar and go watch. Yeah, it was $293 on DirecTV. And you know what's going to be? It's the cynical one in me now. I don't think they're going to come out with the individual ones because they're going to try to make a killing on this 451. That's what they're going to do. And then next year they'll bring it in. Or halfway through the season, they'll offer it if they don't get the response. Or maybe only a quarter of way in the season, they'll offer it if they don't get the overall response. But I can see them doing that just to milk that and force people to pay the $350 or $450 just because they love their Dolphins and they live in Buffalo, or they love their Packers and they live in Texas. You know what I'm saying? And so they want to force that person to pay the $350 or $450 when they could easily just say, hey, we'll sell you a Dolphins package for $119 a year, and a whole bunch of people will take it. Oh, shit. I can watch my Bears for $119 for the whole year? Hell yeah, dude. Let's go. I don't care about the other ones. I just want to watch my Bears. I just want to watch my Cowboys. I just want to watch my Dolphins. It's a shame. 30,200 for Bitcoin, up 4%. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. That is at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And remember, you can make a Bitcoin donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. It's the other thing. All right. Anything else? Let me see what we got here down the stretch to talk about. Any breaking news? Let me check here some of the headlines and see if there's anything new. Check your chat board here too. Lions trade Jeff Okudah to the Falcons for a 5th-round pick. So there you go, folks. You got a little bit of a move. The 3rd overall pick in the 2020 draft, Jeff Okudah, the cornerback, was traded to the Falcons for a 5th-round pick. So that's the big news. Will Levis visiting the Buccaneers. Bryce Young to visit the Texans. Yeah, nothing really earth-shattering going on in the NFL. Okay. What else do we have? Big O, what bank do you use to buy your crypto to move it away from fiat? What bank do you use to buy your crypto? Well, I use Bank of America, Citibank, Chase, all the big banks. I have no problem. What you do is you buy it off of crypto.com, maybe. I don't know if maybe that's what you're asking. But like I like to buy off of crypto.com and then I move it to my cold storage wallet. Okay. So I'll buy a certain amount of whatever it is. And then not every time I buy, because, you're going to get charged for moving it over a buck or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So I want to make sure I move over a certain amount over to my cold storage wallet. So as I build it up, like this last dip for Immutable X, when it went down to $1, I made a couple of purchases. So I didn't move it the first time I bought Immutable X. After the 3rd time I bought Immutable X and I collected a sum, then I moved it over to my cold storage wallet. Okay? So there you go. And I like the Trezor Model T, if you're asking. Big O's such a smooth singing voice. You may be the new Velvet Fog. There you go. Eddie Lepp says, I just go to our local sports bar, Tortugas, and get to watch with other Finns fans and get a meal for the same price. Exactly. You're going to eat anyways, get a meal, and then you're done. You're going to eat anyway, right? That day, you're going to eat anyway, so you got to spend the money. So you go to Tortugas, and by the way, they won the contest. You go to Tortugas, and you watch a Canes or a Dolphins game, and then you go home. And Tortugas is super comfortable. We will be going back soon to Tortugas. Jamesville says, I would pay $119 for just the Dolphins. $450 is way too much. I know $450 is a lot of money for people, man. Round about $26 per game. To sit at home and watch it, that's just wrong. What's the best cold storage wallet for Bitcoin? Listen, a Ledger is good. If you want to get a Ledger, I have no problem with that. That's a very good wallet. And I like the Trezor Model T. There's a couple of good ones, man. The key is don't put anything online. Okay? Don't put your 12 words on your email. Don't send it out in a text. Don't do anything. You keep it somewhere in a safe somewhere away from everything, and you're fine, and nobody could ever touch it, and you're good. That's the important part. That's all. So if you get a Ledger, you get a Nano, you get a Trezor Model T, man, just make sure when you get your 12 words, and by the way, when you buy these wallets, buy them directly from the company. Okay? Directly from Ledger, directly from Trezor. Buy them direct. Do not go through the Amazon route. Don't go through a third party. Okay? Just another tip for you. My bank blocked all my purchases. Well, you're probably on a small bank. The way I have to do this every time for you guys out there. I got to get a little political for some of you out there. And again, it's for both sides. Okay. So it doesn't matter to me. Okay. But the Democrats are trying to screw you over right now. Okay. Both sides will screw you over in different ways. You just got to be smart enough to see through the bullshit of Republicans and Democrats, right? So the Democrats are trying to shove this CBDC thing down your throat because they can't manage the money and because it's been mismanaged for decades now, right? It's the same thing, by the way, for you butthurt Democrats out there. It's the same thing as Republicans and the conservatives shoving the abolishing the abortion law. Why? Because those losers know that if they actually put it up to vote, the country would vote for abortions by nearly 70% of the country would vote it up. But again, the Republicans and the conservatives, they know that they can't put that publicly to vote because then they would lose. So now they want to shove these laws down your throat and limit women. The same thing as Democrats want to shove the CBDC down your throat. And what they're doing now is they're killing small banks and medium-sized banks, and they're funneling everything towards their big banks, the JP Morgans, the Citibanks, the Chase, the Bank of Americas. Those are the ones that you can buy your crypto on with no problem. Notice how the smaller banks and the Silvergates and all that are getting pushed out because it's all politics. Everything is politics. Each side uses something to their advantage to then take advantage of you, whether it's taking advantage of women with the abortion law or taking advantage of you fiscally with this bullshit CBDC. Okay? So I had to take shots at both sides because you losers out there that are a Republican or a Democrat loser, you hear me take a shot at your little pathetic party and you say, well, what about the other side? But, some of you are, quite frankly, too fucking stupid to understand what they're doing to you on both sides. Sorry, but I got to be brutally honest with some of you out there. So they manipulate you with whatever tool they want to use. You know what I'm saying? They don't put CBDCs out to vote because we would shoot it down. They don't put abortion up to vote because we would shoot it down. Everybody, 70% of the country would want to. The only ones are the minorities, the conservatives, the extreme conservatives, and those Republicans. That's it. And the Democrats don't want to put the CBDC up for vote because we would kill it. Because why? CBDC is there to control your life, control what you spend. They can take your money away. You owe something to the government, they'll pull it right out of your account. That's why they want the CBDCs, because they can control everything that you do and they can track everything that you buy. Both sides are garbage. The faster you learn that both sides are garbage, and instead of being stupid and thinking that your side has your back when they don't, you'll be better off. The day you pull for Americans and not Democrats and Republicans will be the day you're better off in this country. Just want you to know that. It's the day we're going to be better off to beat these parties. Okay? So wake the hell up. There's a reason why they're telling you things like Bitcoin are not good for you. And no, it's the US dollar. The Ponzi scheme is good for you. The one that loses value, the one that we just keep printing and printing more money. Keep listening to the bullshit and you'll keep falling deeper and deeper down the abyss. I'm just saying. You got to be really stupid to think your party's got your back. I mean, really incredibly stupid. So that's what's going on with banks. So you can't use smaller banks. Use the big boys and you'll have no problem. It's, again, this is misinformation. Oh, they're killing the banks for crypto. No, they're redirecting the money to go through the bigger banks that benefit the government, because those banks are tied. Why do you think Elizabeth Warren, who makes $200,000 a year but has $67 million in the bank? All right, what do you think? What do you think Warren and Pelosi's stock tips look like compared to yours? Keep thinking that they're on your side. Yeah, they want CBDC to control your ass, but not theirs. It's just think for yourselves, man, and stop choosing a side. All Republicans make Republicans look is stupid, and all Democrats make Democrats look is stupid. Is what they make you do. But you go ahead, you keep doing it. Big O, wow, people actually still believe that either the reps or the Dems are actually for the people. No, we have millions, hundreds of millions that believe in that. Very few of us are for Americans. Too many are buried and believing, whatever Ted Cruz tells them and whatever Elizabeth Warren tells them. They don't think for themselves. They don't actually take it. Let me go check out what's really going on. Let me not listen to what's going on out of Fox and CNN. Let me actually really take the time myself, and that's our shame. Let's see. Big O want to know what Democrats, Republicans' biggest fear is: accountability. You want to laugh? Go look at Jon Stewart and his interview with the Treasury, not Janet Yellen, the other woman. I mean, he puts her to shame, dude. I forgot her name now, but she's a part of the defense, part of the defense part of our government, and they can't even pass an audit because they don't know where the money went that they gave them for weapons and all kinds of other things. And Jon Stewart is just ripping into this woman. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the people we vote into office every 4 years they're the ones that create this mess for decades. And they're all Democrats and Republicans. You can go ahead and point fingers at each other all you want. Oh, God. Kathleen Hicks, that's her. That's her. You saw it also, Manuel? I mean, Stewart I love Jon Stewart because he just doesn't bullshit, bro. He's awesome. He calls them all out. And that's what I obviously he's more liberal, but he'll call the liberal people out, which are a lot of the ones that are in office now. And he'll call obviously the Republicans out, and which they all should be called out because they're all terrible. Deputy Secretary of Defense. Yeah, she was not well, she looks like a horse's ass in that interview. A total horse's ass. It's embarrassing that our government acts like this, dude. You saw right now, I don't know if some of you have you watched that some of these top secret information got out in public and on social media and all that. Now they got to investigate how this is like key information that's going on right now in Ukraine and things like that. And it's being like the shit that goes on with the people we put in office. It's a joke, dude. It's a joke. And the bigger joke is when I see a Democrat or Republican thinking that their shit is straight and they know what to do. And they're nothing but they're just as big a part of the problem than anybody else. None of them are the solution. Nobody can come up with a candidate that you would say is a solution. You just lie to yourself about it. It's a shame, dude. They can't account for 60%. No, I know it's Isais. It's the weirdest thing in the world to like how can that be? And that's because they probably did a lot of illegal shit with that money, and now they can't tell you the illegal shit that they did with that money or the really bad stuff that they did with that money. And so they can't show you because it would be top secret. It would probably be some ugly information. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry, but that's the only way I can think. That's what you've led me to, because unfortunately, look at the position we're in. Isn't it ironic that they make us call the honorable before their names? Ludicrous. Amen. Amen to that. All right, we are out of here, folks. We will see you tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning, remember, we are on early. We're on at 8:45 because we've got Red Recover Inside the Paint Show. And remember, we've got our Red Recover hats in. So if you are, I'm charging my battery actually because I wore it this morning. I wear it every morning. So I charge the battery, I put it on, and you turn it on, and there you go. And it helps grow my hair back, actually all over, not just in the natural yarmulke, but it's actually growing everywhere else. And you can go to redrecover.com. They've got the wraps for the dogs, which are awesome for small dogs, big dogs. And if they, have those hip issues, one of our listeners has a Yorkie that had broken legs, and he's using it for his Yorkie, and his Yorkie now is walking around with less discomfort and living a much better life. And that's kind of what we want for our doggies too. So redrecover.com has got them. Use our code Big O. You'll get 10% off. If you want the hat, you won't see it on the website. You got to hit the contact us and tell them, hey, Big O says you've got the hat. And if you want the hat, if you started to lose your hair, listen, if you've lost your hair, 5, 10, 20 years ago, I don't know if it'll help. You can try. It might work. I'm not sure. But if you're like me, that you were recently losing it, now you got a shot. And maybe it can really help you out like it's helping me. And it's great for the ladies, too. If your hair is thinning as you get older, you don't have to be balding. But if your hair is thinning and you want it to start getting thicker, the hat is great to use every day, man. Every day. And I'll give you a suggestion, okay? I use it twice a day. I wake up in the morning and I use it. And then when I go to sleep at night, before I go to sleep, I put on the hat again. So I end up using it twice a day. You can use it once a day, but I use it twice a day. And it's helped me out. But you want, hours of in between, and because you can leave it on for an hour. It's not going to do anything extra. The 15 minutes is more than enough. But if you let time pass, then you can regenerate a little bit more, hours later or half a day later when you get back and you're done with work and you're done with everything. So you can even do it twice a day if you want. Yeah. So for the workout pads, sometimes you use those before and after your workouts to optimize your workouts. So you can use it also for your hair. You can actually wear the hat in the morning and in the afternoon. That's what I do. So go to redrecover.com, use our code Big O, and check it out, baby. Dolphin 13 says, I use digital banking. SoFi Banking has an interest rate of 1.2, and Chime Banking, whatever those traditional banks offer, doesn't even come close to digital banking. 1.2% or 82%. It's up to you, Dolphin 13. And when inflation is nearly 5%, my friend, what does 1% do for you? You're losing money in the bank. You're losing 4%. Your dollar is losing 4%. The dollar loses 6 to 8% of its value every year. So in your case, in the bank, you're losing 5 to 7% instead. So if you would have put $1 in Bitcoin on January 1st, you would have $1.82 now. You would almost double your dollar. Are you doing that in your bank? I'm just saying, banks, digital banks, they don't do shit for you, man. They don't do anything for you. You deposit in their bank, and then they go out and leverage all your money to go make 10, 20, 30% of the money. And then they don't give you anything back for it. Learn about Bitcoin, learn about decentralized financing, learn how you can be your own bank, learn how eventually you can actually give out your own loans and that you will end up earning your interest off those loans. Okay? Learn how you can probably get a low interest loan off yourself, off your own Bitcoin. All of these things are possible. Okay? And plus, remember, Bitcoin started at 0 and it's at 30,000. No asset in the world has ever done that. None. No asset in the world is up 81% like Bitcoin since January 1st, and it's at 30,000. It might be at 81% that it went from $1 to almost $2. Okay, but not thousands. An asset like this does not exist. So my suggestion, not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto. Please look into it more. Please understand what's going on, because what's going on in our country is absolutely shameful. And neither side is looking out for us, to be quite honest. Look out for yourselves. Look out for Americans. All right. We thank Cameron Wolfe. We thank Manny Navarro. We thank Sean Stanley. We thank everybody that tuned in, everybody that sent in a text. Please like the hell out of, hit the like button, please. Whether you're watching, whether you're downloading any time of the day or night, appreciate all of you out there. We will see you at 8:45, same place, same bat channel. Love you all.